Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel, OG Star Wars, and again, another coffee chat. And today's going to be fun and simple. We're going to talk about the hero's journey, the OT, Luke Skywalker. And so I'm going to bring in the guest that I have here. And we have again with us Stig Kenobi, and we'll wait for everybody to come in. But the important question that I always present is what is in your mug? So what are you enjoying this morning? So we'll wait. It looks like we're in a very slow morning here. Hi, Revanite. How you doing? Oh wow, you're here and it says I have no viewers. That's crazy. There we go. Everybody's dropping in.
Maybe his eyes were closed.
Okay, we got three. It caught up. Everything caught up. The important question is what is in your mug? And I collect these Starbucks travelers mugs here and location mugs. And so this is my Washington D.C. when I was on the East Coast 2 years or 3 years ago. So Stig, what are you enjoying? And you're in the evening. So what are you enjoying this fine evening?
Has some fruit soda thing.
Fruit soda. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. All right, so we have Revenite. Hello, hello, hello. And then we have Big Doug. Hi, how you doing? And Jedi Luki. Good morning, OG Star Wars. Hey, Stig. And Jamie. Hi. I'm always happy to see everybody return every morning, every coffee chat. It just makes my heart feel good. Thank you guys. And let's see here. Vertical Horizons, morning OG and Stig. I finally able to catch a morning stream. Well, thank you so much. And this one is going to be a very fun and simple one. Um, we still have book 3 to finish of the Corellian trilogy, but that will begin next week, and then we'll move on to Darth Bane. So, if you guys were able to vote last week about about which Old Republic books to expand on, the popular vote was Darth Bane. But I think that's one of the most favorite books in that era. So
I've
let's see.
only read the first one and it was awesome.
Yeah, let's see here. Hail OG Star Wars girl. Hey, how you doing? And look who we have here, Jade Shadow. How are you doing, darling? Lurking in chat while having lunch. Awesome, awesome. And then we have Miss Martin Muses. So again, if you're coming in, what's in your mug? What are you enjoying? Mine, I'm in morning, this fine morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. So
Show us your mugs, ladies.
yeah, show us your mugs. Yep. Let's see here. And it's such a good morning. I slept well. And so yes. And tonight I'll be hosting the or not the Babe Dim. Geez, I was on that last night. The Queen's Council. So I'm having 2 live streams in one day. Not very common on my channel right now. So I'm very excited about that. So since we are chatting about the hero's journey, the OT and Luke Skywalker, please share in the comments what is your favorite scene in the OT? What is your favorite movie in the OT? Share in the comments while we let people trickle in some more. And we do have Lethal Lightning, Hot Gal talking EU and showing mugs. Oh, yes, yes. Show me your mug. Hi, OG, Stig, and chat. Yes, so go ahead and share what's your favorite scene in the OT, the significance of it, and I'll share on the screen here and we'll get into our talk here in a minute or so. So Stig, how are you doing this morning or this evening?
I'm doing quite well.
Yeah, he got
Uh,
the go ahead.
no complaints. Doing quite well.
Good, good. Let's see here. Oh, look at Kick. He's like, hello, how you doing? All right. So you just got done telling me while we were in backstage here before we started that you finished reading Survivor's Quest. So go ahead and tell the chat what you thought about that, because we're just this is still the EU, this is still George Lucas era of Star Wars, and so just go ahead and share with us what you thought about Survivor's Quest.
I thought it was a fill in the blanks kind of book that, you
Hmm.
know, tied up outbound flight and other things.
Yeah.
But it was an okay Mora and Luke story. If you like
Uh-huh.
Mora and Luke, this
Yeah.
is one to read. But you should read Outbound Flights first, and of course the Thrawn trilogy. Um, I guess. Oh, it was fun to when they found out about Jedi Jinsler,
Yeah.
who didn't make it.
Mhm.
I guess I settled on a 6 out of 10, but it was more like a 6.5. So yeah, I figured okay, so it's a 6. It's still a
Mhm.
6 if it's 6.5, right? But it's unless you really like Luke and Mora, this one is skippable.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't read Outbound Flight, there's not much in it to hold on. If it feels like a filler, I guess,
Mhm.
filler episode.
So what
But
do you think?
it
My
wasn't
question,
bad.
yeah, my question is, what do you think about like when they were going between the wreckage? Because there's like what, how many were on there? 6 or 8. There's 6 cruise or ships attached. When they're going in through there, and they're discovering that about the Jedi, and about what had happened, and how the crew thought about Jedi. What do you think about that? Because they were secluding and quarantine Force users, the colony there.
Uh, I don't know. I'd say I don't know. I thought it was boring.
Okay, you
It's
thought that
just
part was boring. How you're like,
I
okay,
don't give a crap what they thought. It was boring.
you're like it didn't even, it didn't
Yeah,
even with me.
yeah. It's just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just thought I would have you share with us what you thought about the book, since you told me that you had finished reading it, and you also had your opinion about Outbound Flight as well. And so give the chat what you thought about the Outbound Flight as well, because when you read the Outbound Flight, the Survivor's Quest is basically nearly like a sequel to it.
Yeah, I thought that one was boring too. I thought it was shit. It was fun to see a young Thrawn.
Uh huh.
Um, but remove Thrawn from that book, and it's boring as hell.
Wow. And these are Timothy
And
Zahn books. You would think that.
yeah, Timothy Zahn, his Thrawn trilogy is
Mhm.
excellent. But I have yet to see him write another thing that's excellent.
Yeah. Well, I did like the duology as well. The Hand of Thrawn. I did like that. I
Uh,
mean, but the
I've
the
never read that.
trilogy, yeah, the trilogy by far is what got breathe light back into the EU, or back into the franchise. So that was the most popular one that got people into the EU, was the Thrawn trilogy. And Lethal Lightning OT, or EP4, episode 4, we're going to talk about overall the OT in general here with the hero's journey. So my question is what is your favorite scene in the OT? It could be, if you have multiple, that's okay. And then what is your favorite movie in the OT? So go ahead and share with us on that. Let me go ahead and take this down.
You're
Yeah, so I
asking me
thought
to do it, or the chat?
the chat, but if you want to share too as well, Stig, I'm putting you on in the hot seat. So go ahead and share.
Okay, my favorite scene
Hmm.
is the binary sunset scene.
Okay.
Uh, no question about it. It's and the scene where Obi-Wan talks to Luke about the Force when they're in the
Hmm.
cabin or in
Okay.
Obi-Wan's home. Um, Favorite movie is Episode 4, even though I think Episode 5 is the better movie. I just have fonder memories of Episode 4.
Yeah.
But it's only the first half of 4 because I don't really like the Death Star stuff that much.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
So yeah, so the first half of episode 4 is my favorite Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah. And so those who are coming in, what are you enjoying? What is your beverage you're enjoying? Are you having calf? Are you having a sody pop? Hey, now getting into like old people talk, I guess. Sody pop. You want some sody pop here? Um, so what's your drink? What are you enjoying? So let's see here. OG Star Wars, have you read Splinters of the Mind Eye by yeah, I read that a long time ago, and so I have to, I'm thinking about reviewing that since that's um the very first EU novel, I guess you could say. That'd be fun to
It's
read.
like the alternative ending to Star
Yes.
Wars.
Hmm.
I actually read it a couple of months ago.
Okay. So it's fresh in
Cheesy,
your mind compared to me. So yeah.
yeah. It's about the Kyber crystal, really.
Yes.
Um, it's cheesy and marvelously retro, and I thought it was great, even though it's absolutely not canon.
Hmm.
But it was still fun. It got that 70s sci-fi feel to it. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think about Leia being able to kind of hold her own in a sense with
Well,
Vader?
for a little bit, then he fucked her
Yeah, for
up.
a little bit, in a sense. That's why I said in a sense. So
Uh, well, she gave it a go. I'll, I'll,
yeah.
I'll give her that much. But yeah, Vader was rather ruthless in that one.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, good book. I liked it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
like I said, not canon in any canon, really.
Yeah. The whole purpose of that was to, like you said, to be a sequel if Star Wars wasn't successful. So a EU or a book sequel. But little did George know that it was it was well received by everyone, and and there was records of people waiting in line for hours on end just to go see the movie and just to get back in line and to watch it again. So yeah. Okay, Jedi Luki, it was supposed to be a sequel to A New Hope if the movie failed. Yes. Yes, we are on the same track here. That 70s feel is also very prevalent in the Lando Calrissian adventures.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I have that. It's a collected book, I think, with three
Hmm.
stories or something.
Yeah.
Haven't read it yet, but if it has that same feel, it's moving up my reading list for sure.
Damn it, Stig. You're so fun. Yeah, I mean, but I had people tell me and that they didn't care for the Lando adventures. So, but we'll review that here soon as well. I mean,
Come
there's so
on,
many.
it's it it's a sleazy fellow with a mustache in the '70s field story. Come on, what's not to like? And
Oh
there's
goodness.
three stories about him too.
The 70s guy with the mustache, the really thick mustache, and yeah,
Yeah,
Lord, that put so much like thoughts in my mind with that, and yeah, I'm not gonna touch on that one.
you need to have like some slow jazz going on in the background while you read it.
And then have the bell bottoms, like the khaki color bell bottoms, and the blouse shirt kind of button open in the front.
Yeah, show off your chest hair.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, Lando Calrissian adventures are very trippy, a very interesting, and um, in my opinion, very fun read. Yes, the porn stash. I was like, I'm not touching that. I'm not gonna touch that. No. Good morning, Ivan. How are you doing? So, if you guys are joining, thank you for coming in, and I am so thankful for you guys being here as well. And yeah, we went quickly from talking about, some EU books before we get into our topic here to 70s vibe to a porn stash quickly. That's fun. Good morning, everybody from Cali. Oh, Lord. Yeah. So, what's your next novel that you're going to get into for Star Wars EU? original lore, Stig?
I'm gonna finish a couple of books I already started.
Okay, and what's that?
Uh, I'm almost done with Han Solo at Star's End,
Okay.
which I do believe fits in the canon, even though it was written before the EU was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, s- I can't see anything in it that wouldn't fit. Um, and then I'm gonna finish the first Jedi Academy book, which I've also started.
Okay.
So I thought we were gonna do that for the EU book club
Yeah.
a couple of books ago.
Isn't that
But
now?
I
They're
had,
already doing that now.
yeah, now they're doing it.
Who's
So
hosting? Who's hosting?
Raging Ryan,
Raging Ryan. Okay.
yeah,
All right. So I might show up on that panel. Um, I missed the last one for Outbound Flight, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah. So when I'm finished with that one, I'll probably just do book 2 and 3 as well.
Okay. All right. And I know that you need to finish the Darth Bane trilogy. So I mean, I'm not trying to task you with a lot of reading, even though that's your thing. But
Oh,
I still have the Corellian trilogy to finish. So this coming Tuesday will be the last book of the Corellian trilogy, and then we'll discuss it in the coffee chat, and then move on to Darth Bane. Like I said, if you were able to vote on Twitter, thank you so much. Darth Bane won for the next um, EU lore novel that I'll be reviewing. So we'll be getting with Darth Bane trilogy, going back into the Old Republic, going back in time instead of lingering around into the classical post Return of the Jedi era. So yes, and so
I'm
maybe
waiting for 3 X-wing books
uh-huh.
in the mail. When I get those, I'm only missing 4 post Return of the Jedi books.
Yeah. Jade
So
Shadow
my
says, I am still waiting for Jedi Search to arrive. It's always fun waiting for those books that you need to add to your collection to get here. It's like Christmas once you get them. It feels so great to have, complete your set, I guess you can say. So, hi, Critches. Good morning, guys. Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for coming in and joining us. And you guys, I think I'm about 13 or maybe 1200 away from becoming monetized. So I'm really, really excited about that. Getting close. I'm getting close. So I'm really excited. So thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, watching the content that I'm providing, and just getting involved even with the live streams as well. I appreciate the support, and I can't wait for all of this to happen. And it's going to be fun. So let's see here. Jedi Luki. Even though I already had the books, I have a box set of the Jedi Academy trilogy. I like box sets. Yeah, and those box sets are great collectibles as well. So very fun. Very, very fun. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about, let me get this off here, about Luke Skywalker. So, Stig, we probably already have an idea of who your favorite character is in the OT just by looking at your avatar, your little avatar there.
oh that's just a picture I took of myself last year.
You're pretty well groomed, darling.
Oh, thank you, sugar boots.
Sugar boots. Wow, sugar boots. Okay.
I don't know.
That was like you were just like reaching for that. That was not even sincere. You're like, what the
Yeah,
hell do I say to that?
I just picked 2 words and then combined them.
I guess. Okay, sugar then boots.
Yeah, sugar
Okay.
boots.
Why the hell did boots come to your mind?
I don't know. It sounds like a thing.
Sounds like a thing, huh?
Like, hello there, sugar boots.
You rebel scum.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, my favorite is most likely Ben Kenobi.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think?
Ben
Your
Kenobi,
opinion.
then Luke, then Chewie.
Okay, so your opinion about Luke, since we're going to get into this talk now. So when you first seen Luke, what was your impression of him? Dun dun
A bit
dun.
whiny.
Okay.
But later on, once I started, well, he's the stereotypical idealistic youth, right?
Yeah.
But he has so much in him that a lot of people can identify with,
Yeah.
because he's putting aside what he wants to do to help his family.
Mm-hmm.
He always needs help, and he
Yeah.
always tries to help everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's he's like the everyman, or rather
Mm-hmm.
the every teen,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
how he's supposed to be for this hero's journey for his, and they
yeah,
even, he's even the fool, I guess you can say, if you look at the hero's journey in the tarot cards, because you can take the main arcade cards out, and you can, put them in a circle, and that spells out the hero's journey. So I'm getting, a little bit into that mythology of the tarot, and it has a hero's journey in that as well. So
would you say that Lucas in episode 4 is literally the hero with 1,000 faces?
yeah, because he can go any which way, but he still needs a lot of help because he's
Yeah.
transforming, and that's the beauty of that. So, so when Joseph Campbell maintained that all mystic stories draw on a common story or store of images and symbols, he was in part referring to the works of the psychiatrist Carl Jung and his theory of archetypes. He believed that certain psychological urges and instincts manifest themselves in fantasies and reveal their presence through symbolic motifs. These forms or images occur practically all over the world as constituents of myth. As the forms rise out of their unconscious mind in dreams and myths, archetypes appear as characters, princesses, knights, and dragons. So this is what we know. George, used Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, and Stig and I were talking about, basically Joseph Campbell's book as well, a little bit in a talk before we came on, and how relevant Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey and his writing, influenced George Lucas in writing Star Wars, this space fantasy. So, you want to add to anything that on that, Stig?
No.
You're like, no, I'm done. Yeah, for me, for Luke Skywalker, yes, he when I first seen him, um, he was very fascinating. I really got into his character, into like every little bit of his journey, and just even in episode 4, watching him, um, go from this teenager that had all these dreams, and the twin sun scene. Basically, you don't hear, you don't, it's priceless because it's silent, but you know that he has dreams and aspirations, and that he wants something that's much more beyond him. And so that scene was brilliant without even having to describe to us what was going on in his head. And then seeing,
Yeah, and you can also see him play with a model ship.
yeah,
That's an indicator too of what he wants.
yeah, exactly. Hellos, how are you doing? Oh, look at, we have Miss here as well. Thank you, Zero Fall and Miss, for coming in.
Speaking of Jawas, here's Miss.
Geez, we've been talking about Jawas. How dare you? How dare you, Stig?
Because I'm a bold one.
Because you're a what?
A bold one.
A bold one?
Yeah, that's what Grievous says. You're a bold one.
You are a bold one. Okay.
I love you.
I know.
There you go. Show everybody some love, and Stig some love because he's bold, I guess. But yeah. All right. So we have the hero's
I'm
journey.
not bald. I'm bold.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, old man. All right. So, like, again, I was so entwined in Luke's overall story, even with episode 4. It fascinated me, and so he was the first character that I really, I guess you could say, attached to in Star Wars, and has been my favorite ever since. So let me see. Baldy 1 Kenobi. Howdy, folks. Hey, the BS is real. Yes, it is real. Artistic Lego films. Hey, they are. Hey there, Mr. Master Jedi Lukey. Okay, so the hero's journey as well. Let's go ahead and get into that. So we have our young fool, our every man Luke Skywalker, and in the OT we see him. We see Princess Leia first because the most important thing that pushes his hero's journey is the droids with that data chip with her message, and so we get that introduction of her, and she is also she has her own hero's journey as well in the story, and we know that she puts the data chip into R2, and they leave in a they leave the ship in a pod down into Tatooine, and they come into possession of Luke and or of Owen Lars, and little does he know that this is going to begin you know a new journey for him, and it's going to begin a new life for him. And little does he know, and we know later once the PT comes out, that these droids were owners, or not owners, his parents own them. R2 was was under Padme for a while, and then C3PO, we know that Anakin found him and finished constructing him as a protocol droid. And it's interesting how after everything's said and done, that R2, began to follow Anakin because he used him for his starship, his starfighter ship as well. So we have that little link there as well. So we have, so I'm just like, talking about the significance of the droids. And so we have the call to adventure. And that call to adventure was basically Luke seeing that message accidentally from R2, and he didn't reveal a lot, to where R2 was like, I need to deliver this message to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he flees. And, then Luke, wanting to go find him and stuff. So what do you think about that scene overall, Stig? Since it's coming up with your favorite scenes that you
the,
like.
the message scene or two running away.
Well, all of that.
Well, it certainly shows R2's character, because he's devoted as hell. Yeah, he gets the job done, but it's an iconic scene, really, and I do think it was technologically advanced for its time as well. The
Yeah.
hologram scene. I don't know. It just starts the whole thing, doesn't it? Gives you. That's where the plot really starts, because before that, all you know is there's something important about the droids.
Yeah.
And the princess is important, and then something about this Kenobi fellow.
Exactly.
But that's when the ball really starts rolling. And yeah, like I said, the first half of episode 4 is my favorite, easily.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice. I love it when we see movies that set up everything that's we see going on in their own trilogy as well. And once you are able to see all of the movies in the trilogy, then you have a greater sense of like, oh yeah, I get it, kind of thing. It's like, like the icing, the cherry on the cupcake, I guess you could say, or whatever. So we have crutches. There are some that believe that the 6 films that the 6 films are the droid story, or at least events told by them. Yeah, they basically they are the ones. Was R2 mainly is the one, since he's never really had his mind wiped.
Yeah, the droids are supposed to be basically the narrators and the witnesses, because they're in every important scene for the most part.
Yeah. Exactly. And they are in the OT and the PT. They are significantly in there. Even, in the Battle of Geonosis and stuff, they are there. They are there involved, so it's quite interesting.
Endor too. If they
Exactly.
didn't have 3PO, they would have failed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They were highly utilized because basically that was George Lucas's thing, is that the droids are basically the witnesses to what's going on. So, and R2 mainly, um, is the one that's telling the story, because we learned that C-3PO had his mind wiped at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So, all right. So, Jamie, Hero's Journey, the universal story trope, the mono myth. Have you read Joseph Campbell's Heroes with a Thousand Faces? A very interesting read. Yes. And that's what we were talking about earlier before we came on live stream, is, the Hero's Journey and Joseph Campbell's Heroes with a Thousand Faces. Very good read, especially if you like, all, like the myths and all the psychological things behind these stories, the myths and everything. Let's see here. Who's your favorite EU character? Okay, so Stig, I'll let you answer that first, and then I will. I have a few. It's hard to decide.
Well, I have 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
First one would be Jaina Solo.
Okay.
One of the best female characters ever. Then there's Kyle Katarn. That's because of the video games. I used to play them. I don't know. I've beaten them probably 20 times each.
Mm-hmm.
Third is Darth Talon, because she's scantily clad and she looks great, and I want to sleep with her.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. For me, Jaina Solo. I love Mara Jade as well, and sometimes they intertwine to where I like them. It's like, I think I almost like them like high, like equally, I guess you can say. I like Mirta Give or Gev.
Oh, she's cool. She's very cool.
Yeah, and I mean it's so hard to choose. There's so many great characters. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's way up in my list, or maybe he is teetering up in my favorite list, but Corran Horn, only because of his that he's uniquely different and with his force abilities and everything as well. So I like his story.
Ayla Secura. She's really cool in the
Yeah.
old Dark Horse comics. She's really
Yeah.
fleshed out. She was awesome.
Yeah, and I like Jason Solo for his dynamic character and his and how we see him progress and how we see him fall to becoming Darth Caedus as well. I mean, there's so much dynamics behind his character, and I think it's done really, really well. So, and let's see here. I like Bane. I mean, it's like how many do you like in each of the eras of Star Wars EU original lore? Because I know everybody has, at least a few, like in the Old Republic era, the PT, the classical, or the OT era, and, the post Return of the Jedi era, which includes the New Republic, New Jedi Order. I mean, there's so many, in Legacy era, there's so many, characters in each of those little space, those time frames that, everybody has someone they like.
Would Boba Fett count as an EU character, given that he's not fleshed out at all in the movies?
Oh yeah, he is an EU character, and I think he's done really, really well. Taking out the Clone Wars, with the exception of the Clone Wars and what they did to him. He is a well-developed character and a well fleshed out character in the EU. So we see a lot of his greatness in the EU. So. Oh yeah, I didn't even see this, but same here. Mara Jade, or Jade Shadow, Mara and Jaina are tied for me. And the thing is that we have apprentice and master here, so relationship anyway. So it kind of makes sense to really look at them, and they both have their purple sabers as well. But look at them and and like them nearly equal, or just the same level, I guess you could say. My top 3 are probably Mara, Jaina, and Zane. Nice. With Cade a close 4th. Oh yeah.
Oh,
and I hear a lot
Cade
of people.
was awesome.
Yeah. Darth fan service.
Yeah, that would be Darth Talon, I believe.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I really like Darth Talon because she basically is not wearing anything, just covering up what what probably counts. But I mean, really, do you really want? That's funny. R2 is always loyal to Luke. Yes. And even with the Darkness trilogy, he was basically having some malfunctions in his deep memory. And when Luke was trying to repair that, that's when he started seeing all the stored memories from, between Padme and Anakin. And R2 did not want to reveal that to Luke, and he tried his best not to, but Luke eventually, along with Jason and the family, got to see who Padme is to them, basically the mom, and what had really happened between her and Anakin. And so that part of the Darkness trilogy I really really liked, because I like when the stories expand more on that and the characters get to see, or get to expand their character arc with little events like that. And it was very significant because even Luke forgave his dad, and then in the book he sat and meditated and cried because he gave Anakin forgiveness, and then discovering what he had did to his mom, you really just opened up those wounds even more for him. So it was very emotional part of the series. Lethal Lightning, I have always thought Mara and Jaina together as Master and Apprentice would be a great comic series. Yes, I agree. That would have been amazing. You want to add to that, Stig? What do you think about that?
I agree 100%.
Okay.
That would have been pure awesome.
Yes. And I'm going to finish going through some of these comments, and we'll go back to the hero's journey. Okay. Jedi Luki, that'd be awesome. Let's see here. Hey, Abu Nas, how you doing? Good morning, everyone in chat. So, Abu Nas, what are you enjoying? What is your beverage for the afternoon where you're at? All right. Let's see here. We have some nice conversation going on in here. Awesome. You guys are all amazing. All right. Matt G. Oh my gosh. You're like streaming and stuff. I wasn't even prepared for that one. I read it like normal voice. I'm sorry. I failed you on that one. Darth Crate is so underrated. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And to get his backstory in the Old Republic novels. I mean, not the Old Republic, but the old comics that take place in the Republic before the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, wait, I have to backtrack on that to make sure my point is clear. Okay.
Nobody thinks, he was there when Revan was around or anything.
Yeah, Darth Crate is awesome. I love how many eras he's in. Yes, his story and just how he develops from one end to what we see him in Legacy is amazing. And I wish, like we even have, Darth Caedus seeing that vision of him with his daughter, thus him, doing what, going to the dark side like he did, and trying to change what the future is, which we won't really get to see how much he changed because we're the EU is discontinued now for the time being. And I pray one day that we get the Legends own timeline and we get the same authors, and even maybe like Leland Chi in charge of it, and not the story group that's in charge of Star Wars right now. And we get to see the stories in between Fate of the Jedi and Legacy comics develop, like even Jaina in the Sword of the Jedi kind of, and seeing maybe that book come to light as well. So we get to see the progress of even Darth Crate, Jason's visions that he had in the pool of knowledge, all of that. So Darth Crate picked Darth Talon to kind of flex on people. I have a banging sexy red Twi'lek. What do you think about that, Stig?
I think Lethal is completely right.
Yes.
And I think also Darth Crate was right to do that.
Yeah.
He should have shown her off.
And if I was to do a Twi'lek cosplay, and this would be a lot of work to do, I I would be Darth Talon. Yes.
Well, hello there.
Let's see here. I'm drinking V8 Splash right now, OG, about to do some cleaning around the house. Awesome. Oh my God, even toxic male guys clean their house and stuff. Wow. Wow. All right. Crate was a monster top tier Sith Lord. He was. I can't wait to get into and review the Legacy comics and with the channel. That'll be fun. I mean, there's so many. I mean, right now, because I'm fairly brand new and reviewing the EU lore and the overall lore of the original Star Wars stuff. I'm like just touching the tip of the iceberg right now. I mean, if you look at Matt Wilkins, he's been doing this for like 5 years or so, and he's barely in the New Republic era now. That's crazy. That is freaking crazy.
Oh, he is crazy.
He's awesome. I love his channel. Let's see here. Good morning, Jefferson. How are you doing? And what is in your mug? I heard Darth Talon cosplay. Yes, I said it. I would love to do that when maybe one day I'll show up on my live stream cosplaying a character. That would be fun. Maybe. We'll see. And he's like all silent. Who knows? Because who'd you say that I could cosplay to? Was it
Bastila.
There you go.
And I think Jan Ors.
Yeah. I can easily cosplay those guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you agree, Lethal Lightning? Should Alora cosplay as Jan Ors or Bastila?
Like, we're taking a consensus right now.
Speak up, sir. We're waiting.
Or forever hold your peace. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So the call, and we're not even as far as I want to be in this hero's journey, but this happens when we start talking about the lore and we get into the EU as well. There's so much to talk about and expand on as well. So in myth, heroes are almost always drawn from the extremes of life. They are often either prince or paupers. Sometimes the hero is the child of distinguished parents. And we do see Luke, he is the child of distinguished parents. He is, the child of the chosen one. And his mom also was queen of her world at one time, senator, and, an ambassador. And so we see that. But he knows nothing of this because his uncle kept those from him. But I don't think he even knew that Padme was his mom. What do you think?
Probably. I don't know. He might have suspected, but it would be a bit of a stretch. But
yeah.
And he probably didn't know about Leia.
Yeah. Hello there, Demogeni. How you doing? And I just show this. Yes, Mr. Stig. I think that some of us, like a lot of us women, should, like, from the Fandom Menace, should do a live stream. And I'm just like putting this out there, and now I'm probably gonna eat my words, but and do a cosplay our favorite Star Wars character. That'd be fun.
What if your favorite is R2D2 though?
Then you're gonna be R2D2. That would be very interesting. I would love to see someone do that, but yeah. All right. Hi, Lorena Creel. How you doing? Thank you for coming in. Yes, like she says, make sure to hit the like button, folks. And thank you for coming in, darling. All right. Class born licked. Oh, liked. Oh, I was like, licked. What are you licking, sir? What's going on there? Matt G. Oh my gosh. Like, no way. Hello at Lorena Creole. That's especially for you, darling. Yes. So we have that hero's journey. We have the call to the person, and usually they have something. There's something significant about them, even if the character doesn't know. And again, this also is remnants of Sword of the Stone, because the talus that is handed down to Luke is basically his father's lightsaber. And I have spoken about how the lightsaber also resembles his transformation. And we have him getting, inheriting his father's saber, the blue saber. And then he ends up losing it. We see that in Empire Strikes Back along with his hand, and that's part of the hero's journey as well. And part of and then in Return of the Jedi, his transformation is almost complete. And with that, we see him with his new saber, his green saber, which marks his transformation as well. So we get from him inheriting and having to lose that saber, so he's able to transform, and that's including with his green saber. And so he has his green saber. And so I think that even the lightsabers are a significant part of his transformation.
Absolutely. And creating your own lightsaber was a big deal.
Yeah,
Even Vader remarks on it. But
exactly.
then Disney happens and everyone can do it. I mean, what's his name? Ezra.
Uh-huh.
Basically, it makes a staple gun lightsaber. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
The staple gun. I barely remember that because I did watch a little bit of Rebels because I was curious about that. And then when I heard he made his own saber, I went and found that episode, and I can't really tell you which episode number that was because I'm not well versed in that because I was like, I don't like these shows. Um, but seeing that, it does look like a staple gun in a sense, right?
Yeah, it was in episode Retard Season 2.
Retard season 2. I like how you say that. I suspect Uncle Owens and Aunt Brew left out the royalty and sister part. Are they aware he has a sister? Doesn't look like they were only given a boy. The thing is that they had to keep the identity of Luke and Leia top secret. So I think that Obi-Wan really didn't tell him
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I don't
protect
think
her.
he. Yeah, because if one of the kids got, you know, taken by Vader, nobody would have known about the second kid.
Yeah. So Abu Nas, I guess this is to Jade Shadow because she said she can't exactly afford a Mara Jade cosplay. And Abu Nas said to his vice president here, I'll pay for your Mara Jade cosplay.
I think he's talking about me cosplaying Mara Jade.
Oh my God. Take yourself out. It's not about you. It's not always about you just because you're my guest today.
Oh,
Oh my God. Demajinai. How's everyone? My lunch can't stay long. That's okay. I appreciate you coming in and taking your time to listen in while you enjoy your lunch. So have a good lunch. And I'm so thankful you are here. Thank you so much for coming in. Given my body shape, I could cosplay the Rancor Keeper. Oh my God. Hey, it's still a cosplay. No shame in that. Honestly, no shame in that. Abu, you don't have to laugh out loud. I think, in a sense, he's like, well, like you had us dress up in onesies, so we'll help you with the cosplay, I guess. Maybe that's it. Okay, Norin Blythers. I hope I said the last name right. I am a EU noob. Well, welcome to the original lore. I am so thankful that you're beginning. Please share with us where you started at, or if you need help starting with where to begin. And we have people in the chat that could possibly help you, or I can as well. Welcome to the original lore. You'll find that there's going to be stories you really absolutely like, and there'll be some like, oh yeah, I get it's here for the progression of the characters, and there'll be some like you're like, really, did I just read that? Because it's so huge, so big. And how many books are there in estimate, do you think, Stig?
260.
Yeah, something like that. Because I know that like 80 plus were New York Times bestsellers, and that is a significant like achievement for a franchise, really. And then that on top of that, you have the game lore that ties in, like the lore books that ties into the games. And then you also have the comics as well, and then also the young readers novels as well. And so there's a lot. I mean, I'm not trying to overwhelm you or anything, but it's there's a lot of lore going on.
Oh, and the comics.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
hell of a lot of comics.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And I still got to get. I have the the ominous. I can't even say it right now. Shit. But I
Omnibus.
have. There we go. Jeez, this is what happens when I don't first drink water and I drink coffee and stuff. I just cannot talk sometimes because the caffeine and stuff. But yeah, I have the volume 2 for Legacy Comics, and I still need to get volume 1. And I went to go look for it at Barnes and Nobles. They had it, and it went. It sold out quick. So I had
Yeah,
to.
and number 3, which is the final one,
Yeah.
has been released, or at least it should have been. But I think the Corona put it back because it's not been available on Amazon
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, and so I need to get my volume 1 because I wasn't much of growing up. I wasn't much of a comic book reader, but now that I know the significance, like with the EU and stuff, I need to start adding them to my collection just to have, because you never know when they're gonna say, okay, we're gonna discontinue the comics but keep the novels. You never know. I'm not
Oh,
trying.
they've discontinued a hell of a lot of the omnibuses already.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and there's people that came into Star Wars EU just for the games and the comics, and then there's some that came in for the novels, and then you have people who came in just for the overall lore, and that's great. So yes, you get a lightsaber, and you get a lightsaber, and you get one, and yes, just about. And they are loving your staple gun lightsaber analogy here.
The only one who doesn't get a lightsaber seems to be Finn. He only got a broom.
That's
Not
so
kidding.
sad.
I'm not kidding. I saw it in the comic.
Really?
He was using a broom. Yeah. It was cringe.
I'm gonna need audiobooks. Okay, there's audiobooks as well, and so yeah. So let us know where you start at, or if you have started. Hello, yeah, cosplay for everybody. Okay, so is Albanos like paying for the cosplay for us? Then is he like sponsoring all of us for cosplay?
Yeah. Send me a Jedi robe and a blue lightsaber.
And a blue lightsaber. I need a purple lightsaber or a red whip lightsaber. We'll see. And you got very quiet on that one. What are you thinking about, Stig?
Yeah, that's the one I was referring to, the Fear My Mop thing.
Fear my mop. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I just can't. So okay, let's go back.
I had such high hopes for Finn after episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Team Finn all the way, but then nothing happened.
Yeah. So Lorena Creole, the audiobooks are great. Makes you feel like you're in the stories. And when they're done, when they're done perfectly, I guess you can say, and although nothing's really truly perfect, the narrator sounds like the characters. Then you have all the Star Wars score in there, and the sound effects, all of that. It's so when you find some good ones, and like I said, there are some that are abridged, and so that means they're very plot heavy. And so there'll be some little points in the novels that you won't get inside the audiobooks. However, the ones that are unabridged are amazing, and those are like 26 hours of listening. 22, 26, depending on how big the story is or how the book is. Very great. Stig gets the robes. You ladies get slave Leia outfits. He went there. All the ladies get slave Leia. Albanos, I just got to make sure the top fits. Laugh out loud. Well, even Leia's top really didn't necessarily fit. I remember there was her little concerns behind that. So
if it doesn't fit, just pretend it does.
Just pretend, as long as it covers the nipples, right?
Yeah, just put a Band-Aid on the nipples.
Oh my god. This is hilarious. Okay, back to the hero's journey. Let's do this. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we're going to the wise and helpful guide and the magic talisman. So we basically kind of covered that. So the wise magical health, or the wise and helpful guide, is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the talisman, basically, the magic talisman is basically lightsaber. And I think Stig also pointed out something earlier when we were just chatting about it before we came on live stream. I think you might have mentioned it on live stream that the magic talisman can also be the Force.
Yeah,
So you
in
want
a
to
sense.
expand on that?
Because you use the Force to wield the lightsaber, technically,
Mm-hmm.
or at least the Jedi does.
Yeah,
So they go together.
yeah. And what happens, what goes on in that significant is that wise and helpful guide basically teaches our young hero, our Luke, basically how to harness his magic, harness his power, and that's a part of his transformation. So we're beginning to see that. So often the young and inexperienced hero finds that in the early stages of the adventure, he cannot proceed without a supernatural aid, and that's Obi-Wan. As Joseph Campbell describes it in fairy tales, this helper may be one of the little fellow of the woods, some wizards, hermits, shepherds, or smith who appears to supply the amulet, advice, and the hero will require what the hero will require. The higher mythologies develop the role in the great figure of the guide, the teacher. So basically, that's Luke and other heroes and other stories. We see the wise helper coming in to basically now say, "This is who you are." And they also ask them, they start the call of the journey, which we have the ebb and flow between the call and denying it and stuff, and then doing that. So we see one of the significant things is we see Anakin, or not Anakin, we see Luke igniting his father's saber, and really has interest in, like, oh wow, I thought, my dad's a Jedi. I thought he was what my uncle said he was, a pilot for a spice, runner, whatever, and navigator, spice, navigator. And then when he realizes that his father had a huge significance, to the overall galaxy, that really sparks his interest. And it goes back to the twin sons again, because he wants something great, and he knows that he is greater than what seems he is as a moisture farmer. So that's kind of like a foreshadowing. So, all right.
Hmm. She left me. Well, I'll take questions from the chat while we wait for Aurora to return. So asking
You
slowly.
rebel scum.
I just like booted myself out of there.
There she is.
Yes, here I
Ignore
am.
the questions. She's back.
I don't know what I did. I think I ran over my cursor over the Leave Studios, and it just like said, "See ya, see ya." Oh, my laptop has been raising hell with me since this morning. I couldn't even log on for a while. So I was like struggling for 20 minutes, and finally realized that, I'm wearing my glasses and it didn't recognize me because I have the, face recognition on my laptop. And it was like, who the hell are you? You're wearing glasses. You're not Alora. Yeah. So
Critches says that it was a boomer move.
what's a boomer move?
Yeah, you exiting by mistake.
Oh, yeah, I know. It happens. Shit happens. Oh, well. Sue me. I'm just playing. And I say that because, I'm Sioux Indian, sue me, yeah. But Jade Shadow, oof, laugh out loud. She's laughing right there. Get me OG back. Get her out of prison. Get her back. Boomer move. I started comic books where emperor bodyguards took over the empire. and this is Noron. All right, so passing the first threshold in the story basically is when Luke leaves not only his home behind, but even the planet. So we see him, we see his loss. You know, he at first, did I skip the refusal of the call? I skipped that. Let's stay in task, you know. All right. So the refusal of the call basically is when Obi-Wan says, you know, I need your help. I need you to train. Let's go to Alderaan. You know, the princess needs your help. And then he basically denies that, saying that he can't leave his uncle in the time of need, you know, and all this other stuff. So we have that refusal of the call. You know, very classical in the hero's journey. And then once he goes,
it's also very well done by Lucas because he does it in a way that also shows off Luke's loyalty in the same process.
yeah. And then, you know, how he loses his aunt and uncle because they're searching for the droids, and they traced him over to, you know, Owen Lars, to the Lars homestead. And, you know, seeing the Jawas murdered and killed, you know, Luke, he has that heart of gold. You know, those in his life means a lot. And, you know, because of that, you know, he goes to figure out what's, you know, to go back to his aunt and uncle to make sure they're okay. And then he finds that they were basically murdered or killed. And that was the significant change. Seeing his face and realizing that everything that he had is now lost. He is able to give himself completely without any attachment.
Yeah, he realized despite living on Tatooine, his aunt and uncle forgot to put on sunblock.
Oh my God, Stig, that is so horrible. Oh goodness. But you really think that sunblock would help them from getting disintegrated?
Yeah.
And so we have the passing of the first threshold, and also the hero's partners. And so I think those two come together really closely. So they make their way to Mos Eisley, to the cantina there, where you know, Obi-Wan knows where to find, you know, passage to Alderaan. And so we see the, you know, passing the first threshold and finding, you know, basically, I wouldn't say finding, but basically, yes, finding finding the hero's partners, and that would be Chewie and Han. And
Yeah.
So I thought that was significant as well, because the hero is still, you know, in the hero's journey, the young hero, or, you know, the every man person, or whatever you want to call him, or even the fool, in because there's many different titles that they can take before they transform into that hero. And he needs help to get there. And so Chewie and Han is the help there. And
I would also say Kenobi serves a dual role.
yeah,
He's the wise one, but he's also the traveling companion, because Kenobi saves him
Yeah.
at the cantina.
mm-hmm. Exactly. And that also reveals more of Obi-Wan's magic as well. You know, even though he says, you know, I you know, served in the Clone Wars with your father as a Jedi Knight, you know, his actions and what a Jedi is put into words in the cantina, or not words, into motion in the cantina. The
And
hero's
it gets
journey.
you eager for more lightsaber action.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we have Neil here. The hero's journey is dead with Star Wars, because making characters struggle and face adversity is bad. Making females perfect and gods is the way to go. Sigh. That's why we're talking George Lucas era, where
it's not just the hero's journey that's dead. It's also writing in general.
yeah, true. And then we have a short little thing here. It's called Mystical Insight. What all myths have to deal with is transformation of consciousness of one kind or another. You have been thinking one way, you now have to think a different way. And so this is what we're seeing with Luke Skywalker, and even with Han, because Han doesn't believe in the Force. And, you know, and and he has his beliefs and basically kind of set in his ways in those beliefs, but he still wants greater. And Han does have a heroes type journey arc in the lore as well, in the OT as well. So with this mystical insight, Han is being transformed from not believing in the Force to fully believing in the Force as well. So, and Luke, going from a simple farm boy into harnessing his powers, and really, it's really changed his thought about what using the Force is and what a Jedi is as well. So we have that. So,
Yeah, they have the same transformation in a sense with Leia.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this doesn't want this, and I'm going off of my guide right here, because I could have gone off of just putting out the timeline and just talking about it, like writing it out. But I'm going off of Star Wars: The Magic of Myth, just as a little guide here to kind of go into every little nook and cranny of the hero's journey. But this book also shares, and we're mainly talking about Luke, but it also shares the hero's journey and arc of Han and Leia as well. And theirs is different, of course, because they're not the main hero, but they do have their own hero's path, in a sense, if that makes sense. Let me see here. Luke, I agree. She's a female 2.0 Luke. That doesn't have to have any struggles or anything. Jamie, it's the blueprint of every RPG. Maybe that explains my love for RPGs. Critch's Obi-Wan equals mentor plus tragic sacrifice for the hero to carry on with his journey. Yep. Han didn't believe in the Force until Leia did the choke thing. What do you think about that, Stig?
I think Lethal Lightning has been reading too much fan fiction on shady sites.
Mm-hmm. But that kind of
and there's nothing wrong with that.
and I asked you because you like the Force choke thing. You like that ability.
It's the best ability because I want to have it so I can Force choke politicians while they're holding speeches live on TV.
Uh-huh. All right. And among other things, but we won't go into that. Noron. Yes, Crimson Empire. I figure the title One Guard supported the rebels. I love how you guys are talking EU in the chat as well. KK needs to read that book. But no source material, darling. No source material.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, not whatsoever.
Even though they're ripping off the EU left and right.
Mm-hmm. And Jade Shadow has a point here, and I think it was Crucible or maybe Apocalypse, where we see Jaina and Jag get married in Crucible, right? Yes, I believe so. But basically, Jaina they talk about her father, and Jag is like, their thing is about Han having Force sensibility because of his luck that he always has. And so I think that's very interesting. And I would have loved to see that expanded a little bit more on in, post Fate of the Jedi era, when they're starting to go into, retirement, and Han's kind of settling down a little bit with Leia and Alana, and to see what comes of that. Because, he does, that has been in question towards the end of that series, is that, is Han, how strong is Han in the Force? My Lethal Lightning. My fan fiction is an erotica of Seba Sabatine and Admiral Pelion. What?
Don't kink shame him.
I'm not. I would say expand some more, but I don't think this is the place. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you want to share a little bit of that here. I'm kind of curious, but they say curiosity killed the cat, right? So
probably.
probably. Mind trick is better for politicians. Tell them not to be stupid in the first place. Well, yeah, if we have politicians that are weak minded, who knows? But these days and day and age, it seems like it.
Seems like everyone's weak-minded these days.
Okay, artistic Lego films. She doesn't even know what Wikipedia is. Oh, talking about KK. Yeah, who knows what she thinks. Isn't there? I think I've seen this going on. Is Spielberg was talking crap about KK recently?
What did he say?
I haven't had a chance to get into it, but I know I seen that there was a video or two posted because I forgot who posted it, and then I think I seen a little bit on Twitter, but I didn't follow the story yet. I haven't had a chance to even get into it. Jamie, fanfic at this point is better than Disney fic, except Rilo fic, where that is better than Disney fic. That's debatable.
At least the Raylo fanfic is written with a modicum of passion.
Skellies is greater than furries. Oh, okay. I see. And Saba 17, she's a badass. I love her. So that's another underrated character right there. I love Saba 17. Critches, do you need to be able to use the force to be its conduit? Hans Luck could just be the force working through him rather than a conscious usage. The force basically is life in the Star Wars lore, and you can have some. Everybody has some amount of force or midichlorians, and I'll go there. And sometimes it's not even significant enough to even use it in like instinctual or innate use. Like Padme, she I think it was like 3,000. Her midichlorians were 3,000. To be a Jedi, you have to be 7,000 or more to be considered to be trained. I don't remember Hans. I know Jade Shadow looked it up. I'm not going to look it up right now, but you can look it up and it'll tell the characters and what their midichlorian is. And so that also shares how well they use it in innate use. Agreed. Furries got my stream last night, I think. I am missing out on a lot. I've been kind of like, I've been studying, doing some, I'm going through another thing of yoga teacher training because I always believe that as someone who provides that type of modality to others as a form of fitness or even as a form of personal growth and health and stuff, that I should stay on top of my training. So I'm going through another thing of yoga teacher training. And so I've been doing a lot of studying on, reading and stuff. And then I'm also doing a workshop that is geared towards people who have addiction and using yoga as a natural healing, self-care type of modality for them. So I haven't really kept up on a lot of things this last week. I think that Spielberg stuff was out of context. Okay, I'm going to have to look into that. Like I said, I seen it and it was just in passing, but I did not expand on it or read it. So I didn't really talk about it.
It was probably out of context since it quieted down pretty fast.
Yeah, and it could have been because they have a relationship, basically. They've known each other for a very long time. So it could have been some kind of friendly banter as well, taken out of context. Artistic Lego films. If I had the Jedi mind trick, I'd just be getting BJs every day. Really? Now, considering that you're just targeting weak-minded ladies, then yeah. But do you really want that kind of woman? Who knows? I mean, you're getting what you want, right? Okay, please shoot me a link to get my chronological order. Sorry for the spelling. I driving. Okay, that's fine.
He doesn't need to do a mind trick for BJs though. There's a different alternative. It's called money.
But I think he doesn't want to pay for it.
Oh, well then,
He wants to save,
mi-
but you
mind
get
trick away.
yeah, but you get the quality that you search for basically, or you pay for, or whatever. Yeah. Look up Jason and Jaina midichlorian counts. It's lower than you'd guess. Yes, I seen that. And I was like, what the heck? I think it was like 9,000. One of them I seen it was 9,000. And which I question because of the fact of how, how well Jason progressed, even going through his hiatus for 5 years and learning from the different force, societies and stuff. And even with Jaina, she is significantly, as equal in their basic training through the Jedi. And, so I question that. I question that. It's weird. When you get force choked, you are momentarily very forced sensitive.
Same with the force lightning. You're shockingly aware of it.
Yeah. And yeah, Jade Shadow, they're at 9,000 something, right? Letho. Yes. And I thought that was really, really, I thought that I would suspect that they were significantly higher than that. For how we see them progress in the lore as well. So I don't think that really fits. Even with, Jason and Jaina learning Shatterpoint, and stuff. So why would you want a woman who you'd have to mind trick every time you want something? Very interesting, right? If she's ain't down with BJ downtown, I'm out. Wow, I can't believe we're talking about this, you guys. Gotta save up for the queens.
Wasn't
OG,
BJ the name of the hacker in Return of the Last Jedi?
I don't remember. I mean, it's a character I don't even care about. Is that his name then?
I thought it was
DJ?
BJ.
Was it DJ? DJ or BJ?
Oh, it's probably DJ.
Probably. o.g.starwars, if I were teleported into Star Wars, I'd want to land in episode 1. Very interesting. Tell me more. If you want to get married, better save that BJ money for the divorce. Oh, wow.
He's probably right.
Oh, goodness.
Put the dollars in the BJ glass.
o.g.starwars, exactly. Jason exploits put those numbers into extreme doubt. Exactly. Oops. We are hopping in here. Lethal Lightning, and then compare it to Anakin Solo's count. What was Anakin Solo? Was he like 14? Or no, he was in 20,000 or 20,000, was he? Shit, I'm gonna have to pull this up. Let me see here. Midichlorian count. I think I spelled it right. Star Wars midichlorian fandom. I know there's several takes on here. What is Luke Skywalker's midichlorian count? No, I'm not really interested in that because we already know that he is higher than Yoda's and less than his father's. Let's see here. So I'm going to share this screen and we'll just go through this right here and have fun with this. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. All right, do you guys see it? Is it up? There we go. All right, so this is right here. This is from fandom here. I think there's another site here, so maybe I'll find the other one to compare. So Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, 27,800, and then 26,000. So when he loses his limbs and stuff, he loses a lot of that. Darth Sidious, 21,500. Mara Jade, 12,000, a little over 12,000. Ben Skywalker, 24,000. Anakin Solo, 22, a little over 22. Okay, so we have Jason Solo here and Jaina. So here's theirs now. So I know that I read their count on another site. They were put at 9,000. So this one shows that Jason and Jaina are different. and Jason is 23,700, and Jaina is 18,900. I would say that they should be significantly the same, but who knows? Maybe this is because the Force is mysterious. What do you guys think with that? Stig, you want to elaborate on that?
Jaina is a lot shorter. It's
Uh,
like 5 feet or something.
but that shouldn't matter because look at
Well,
Yoda. Size matters
Anakin.
not. Look at Yoda.
Yeah, but Anakin lost
But she
the
didn't lose
Victorians.
anything. She didn't lose anything. And Yoda is tinier than they are. And he says size matters not. But they look at where they have Yoda at. So let's scroll down here.
Yeah,
So
but it's a
Padme,
different species.
but that shouldn't matter. Kate Skywalker's 20,000, like 20,500. Padme is 2,500. The other one I read about her was she was like 3,000 something. So that's kind of there. Luke Skywalker is 24,240. And after the loss of his hand, he's 23,316, which I find is like these odd numbers of 16s and 40s and stuff is kind of crazy. Star Killer, we have his. Snoke, oh yeah, this is comparing the them with Disney's knockoffs here. Kylo Ren, I can't believe is he more than Jason? He is more than Jason. Look at that. And then Leia.
Kylo Ren could barely use the Force.
He was, in a sense, there was potential in the beginning of the Force Awakens for him until he had his fit rage and he took off his helmet, and that's where that potential left.
Yeah, and
But
then
to have Yoda,
Ray beat him. First time she
Mhm.
took up a lightsaber, she beat him. So
yeah, and she's even significant more than him. But look at Yoda's here, 17,300. I'm gonna find that other one so we can compare. And so
where's Ray on this?
Rey is 27,800, and she ties with Anakin Skywalker before he lost his limbs.
So she's a clone of Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
And she has more. She has more than him.
Exactly.
This list is full of shit.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, but I just wanted to show some of this. There's another one here, but Han is like 6,500. Darth Tyrannus or Doku is 14,300. Mace Windu 15,800. Shak T 13,700. Obi-Wan 11,300. So, and then we go down here. Darth Krayt is 22,300, and we get into a lot of
Ahsoka is probably at 50,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a lot of EU here with disc cannon here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one out and find the other one that I was looking at that shows the solo twins at 9,000.
This is a bullshit site.
Yes, it is. It's a fan site that could be edited again and again and again. OG Star Wars, exactly. Jason's exploits. Oh yeah, I read that one. Let me see here where we at. Yeah, Jason went toe-to-toe with the Yuuzhan Vong Supreme Commander and was a glowing with lights, so he became a conduit of the Force. And we also seen that with Anakin as well, when he was when they had that mission to Merker. I turn red and can't breathe. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, darling. I hope you're okay. I mean, at times of legacy, isn't Jason second only to Luke? And Luke is strong as fuck. Yes. What has annoyed me is that Drew, Chris, I always have a hard time saying his name, Karsafian, wanted to continue writing for Star Wars Legends, but Lucasfilm was like, nah, that's the only thing Star Wars related I'd be down for. And that's the thing. I seen that, and I checked out Ryan's video. It popped up on, actually, I got an alert for it on my YouTube app. And I was like, what is he talking about? So I clicked on it while I was studying, and I was like, oh my God. And this is before I started studying. I woke up, had my coffee, was getting ready to sit down and study, and I seen his video pop up, and I was like, what? Drew is wanting to write again. But the thing is if he's writing again, He's writing for Disney lore, not Legends, unless they bring Legends back. That's the only difference. And will he want to write for them with the way the direction they are going with the lore? Who knows?
No, if he's writing for Disney, I'm not going to even read it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me see. I lost my place because all of you guys were just chat. I'm going away here. They did want Anakin Solo to be like the golden child for the bit. Then he got wrecked. Yes, he did. Yes. That was in Star by Star. They have Rey on there for Christ's sake? Yes, they do. So I'll find that other one. That in and of itself makes those estimates highly suspect to fans. Random guessing this is fan fiction. OG Star Wars, and this is Jeffrey. It's the perfect place to begin changing history. I'd save Padme, get the Jedi and clones on my side, expose Palpatine even if he controls the Senate and planet spies in Jabba's service. So
I'd find Ahsoka and Kanan when they were younglings. I would kill them. Just so the Clone Wars and Rebels couldn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, this is not it. I know there's another here site that I read. Oh, crap. Stop it. I don't want to watch a video. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Let's see what Wikipedia says on here for midichlorians. Oh, no, this just talks about midichlorians, and I really don't want to get into your bullshit. Midichlorian count Star Wars character list. I think this might be the one. I think so. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So I'm going to display this. Oh, they have Luke Skywalker significantly smaller in count. And this is on a Google group. Midichlorian account for Star Wars characters list. We do have the twins on here. Before I post this, before I share this, yes, this is it. And here's another one. So I'm going to share it. We kind of got off the hero's path, but that's okay. This is fun. Okay. I'm going to take the comment off here so we could fully see. And I'm going to blow it up here a little bit more. Okay. So this is off of Group's Google forum here, and it does have the twins at 9,000, so that's the one. So here's the midichlorian counts. Anakin Skywalker's 27,700. Darth Sidious, basically with a kyber crystal. Interesting, 20,000. Yoda, 17,700. And then we have these other characters here, like Shintor and Cece, Ben or John Skywalker. Johan or Ben.
Where does he get the John from?
I don't know. That's what I'm questioning. I don't know. But we have Ben Skywalker, and we, really don't need to know that this is, Luke's son, unless it's just, if you know the lore, you know who he is. And it's 14,000. Anakin Solo, 13,700. Count Dooku or Tyrannus, 13,500. And then we have these other ones here, like Kaja. And here we go with Darth Vader, 13,000, that's after he has fallen. Luke Skywalker, 12,500, which I question significantly. His powers is as equal to or a little bit higher than Yoda's, but he's under his father, or he could even be more. But the thing is that Luke Skywalker is what his father was supposed to be, but never could be because he fell to Vader and then was redeemed and died. And
Darth Maul is higher than Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
This is bullshit.
This is another one. So yeah. But look at here. So we have, Juru Sabaoth is 10,350. Let me see here.
So Kenobi is an average Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so is Qui-Gon and Leia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have, average Jedi is 10,000. And I've read somewhere else. And so this is not the same one. This is not the one I seen earlier, to where the average Jedi is, are to be trained. It needs to be 7,000 or more. So
who's Darth Rage? I never heard of him.
Darth Rage, where are you seeing that? I have
Says
seen Bane here.
Says Darth Rage, Sidious apprentice after Maul.
Is he in the comics? Because, like I said, I'm still going to the comics.
Never even heard of
him.
He's at 9,000.
Oh, I see it right there. Yeah, and we have Jaina and Jason 9,000. Seagal is 9,000. Darth Rage. And then Tyone Salazar is 8,500. And then we have Dezar Luger, Dagobah Darth Jedi, and that's probably linked to George Cardass when he was kidnapped by the Dark Jedi. And Aura Seeing 7,000. Need to be considered for training as a Jedi 7,000. Yes.
Hey, Mara in the chat is offered to send you the list she has.
Okay. All right. Thank you, because I'm not looking at the chats. All right. Send it to my my Twitter. DM me, and I'll show it. So we're comparing lists. We're comparing these BS lists. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'll go check that as well. I'll open up my Twitter real quick, and we'll talk a little bit more about the hero's journey. So I'm going to skip ahead because we have in the hero's journey the labyrinth and the rescue of the princess. So the labyrinth and the rescue is basically the Death Star. And we have that going on here. Let me see here. So you want to share? Let me see. Can you please send me a link to the... Okay. We're going to do that. All right. So you want to expand on a little bit of the labyrinth and the rescuing of the princess, Stig? Like, you have any thoughts on that, or you noticed?
Well, the labyrinth is the Death Star.
Yeah.
It's huge, bunch of rooms, lots of passageways and stuff like that. I think it also counts as the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
The hero's journey.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I'm not even going to read what it has to say on that, but or expand on that. And then we have losing the guide, and that's the significant part of the journey, because he knows that he has taught him some basic force abilities and saber technique that we see, but he knows that his time in their realm, the living realm, is over, and that he can serve Luke better in the spiritual realm, I guess you can say. So we have the losing guide. In many myths and fairy tales, the hero slays a monster in the labyrinth. In this case, Monster Vader slays one of the heroes, Ben. While the rest of the group is rescuing the princess, Ben has disengaged the tractor beam that holds the Millennium Falcon hostage, but on his way back to the hangar, he encounters Darth Vader. The challenge
Luke actually, he doesn't slay a monster, but he escapes one in the trash compactor.
Yeah, but that part right there, the belly of the beast, or whatever you want to part, is not in the episode 4 according to this here. So we have the heroes deeds, and the Dragon Slayer is up next. So we'll get into that. So we have to loosen the guide, and then the hero's deed and the Dragon Slayer. Having successfully passed this first stage of the initiation, the heroes are ready for more direct confrontation. For some of them to prove themselves through daring deeds. At the rebel base, they plan attack on the Death Star, and Luke joins. Okay, so yeah, so that part right there is now they're at Yavin, and they're planning to defeat the Death Star. So Yeah, so this is very interesting because it has all 3 movies within the hero's journey, not just one. So let's see here. I'm going to check my messages here. All right. All right, so we're going to pause on that and go over this midichlorian count here that Mara was so graciously able to share. I'll make sure I got the right one up.
And Mora is good at research, so this is probably an excellent list.
Yeah, because there's so many of them, and I've never bookmarked the one that I never went into it and bookmarked the one that deems more accurate towards the lore. So
yeah, the other one looks like some fan fiction crap.
Both of them did, and that's the thing. Okay, so we have it here. Let me take this down. All right, thank you, Mara Jade. You are amazing. Okay, midichlorian count list. So here we go. Midichlorian count list for major Star Wars characters. Anakin is like 27,700. Then we have Darth Sidious, so this is a little bit more accurate in a sense. Yoda is 17,700. Luke Skywalker is 1450, which I still think that he should be a little bit higher too, as well. Maybe.
I don't know, and knowledge and training kicks in too. So it's not just the amount of midichlorians isn't necessarily how powerful the person is. It's just the potential.
Yeah, that, but also too, the more you have, the more you can harbor the Force. Yeah. And so with Luke, and even with the twins, we know that they.
But you can have 50,000, and if you don't have any training, you can lose to someone who only has like 10,000.
That's not in question. What I'm saying is like the more midichlorians you have, and with significant training, you are capable. So like with Anakin, we've seen his training in the PT, his innate and his instinctual Force use as a child was significant. And then as we seen him train and stuff, and it's well noted that it was easy for him in the training. Like he even passed up some of the masters with how to learning quickly and his Force ability because of his midichlorian count. And Luke was even said to like be one of the strongest or the strongest Jedis, which I would still place him still under his father, and I would place him above Yoda. And when you look at like the OT, even with the comics for Return of the Jedi, we had Sidious, or the Emperor, and Vader fearing Luke because of how powerful he has become. And
Mace Windu, well, he's very low.
Yes, and that's the thing. That's why it's like, and this is something that we don't really know the science behind, or even like how this matters. And so this just, like we said, we have questions. Some of them are like, yeah, we understand the count. And some of this were like, really?
Why is Grievous even there? He never uses the Force.
He's
only a machine using a. He's basically a droid using lightsabers.
All he has is his face and his organs. So seeing this with only his rebuilt body, like he's a cyborg with only his organs and his eyes and his face and his brain, basically. If he was fully intact, does that mean that he's significantly more than what this says?
I don't know.
I understood that he wasn't Force sensitive, or he never trained, or he wasn't Force sensitive enough to train or be considered. That he only studied like the fighting techniques through Dooku. That's my understanding.
Yeah, but he doesn't even use techniques. He just rotates his wrists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's something that's kind of like, okay. And so we have Ben Skywalker 13,700. Then Anakin is about the same. Plagueis is right under, just by 100 less. And then Dooku is 100 less than Sidious, and then Obi-Wan is like, and so we're going down. It's like I feel like we're going down in count as we go here, and and then so Obi-Wan is like 13,400. Then we have like Kyle Katarn here, 12,200. Mace Windu, less than that. I would think that he'd be more than Kyle, maybe even a little bit more than Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
But that's just my thing.
yeah. I'd say Windy should be up there near 15,000 or something.
Yeah, and so what do you think about Exar Kun? He's like at 11,700.
He was an ancient Sith Lord. He should be way higher.
That's the thing too. I'm like, you know, so the thing is, the question is like, the more training you have, does that mean your midichlorians go up? And I don't think it is, because they're organisms. There we go. Shit, can't talk. Yeah. And we have Yaddle on here as well. Okay, let's see here. Mara Jade is 11,000. I think she should be up higher as well, because at one point she was able to communicate with Sidious over, you know, like a clear across the galaxy, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Revan and Malak and all of those are very low.
Yeah, we're getting down there as well. I'm just like, I'm like, this is very interesting, but then, you know, it makes you to think like, okay, so some of these, even these Darth and some of these Sith and Dark Jedis, when you read their stories and stuff and how significantly powerful they are, and then you look at their midichlorian counts, you kind of figure, you know, you have questions like Darth Bane here. Now with him, maybe, but we see him as a deranged, you know, crazy ass clone.
Wait, Chewie is higher than Aura Singh?
I haven't even got down there yet. Hold on. Slow your roll. But we'll be there. All right. Let's see. Tahiri Vela. Yeah, I see her at that. I agree. Darth Revan should be higher. Cam Salusar. Yes. She was also. Wait, Cam? Oh, no. I'm thinking about someone else. Never mind. Let's see here.
Naga Sato as well.
Yeah. Nagashato, I think should have been higher. And here we go. So we have the twins here again. 9,000. I think that they should be significantly higher.
Yeah, they're just a little higher than Chewie.
Mm-hmm.
So who the hell is making this list, and what's it based on?
Yeah, I know. That's what I want to see, is like actual source. Let's see here. Sigol. I kind of agree, maybe slightly higher. She was one of the healers, like her path basically was healing, and but then again, when you think about the path of like a healer and stuff as a Jedi healer, you would think that maybe they would be significantly higher as well. But again, I have nothing to compare this to, you know, nothing in depth. Let's see here. And then Jedi Master Tyon Salazar, basically she was, you know, she was still trained. She became a master, but her count was, her ability was significantly low anyways. And so because she's a historian, you know, in the order she was put in there as the librarian, as the historian, and a trainer as well. We don't even have Corran Horn on here, huh? I didn't see him. Chewbacca 7,200, Aura Singh 7,000. Again, 7,000 to be trained. I'm gonna go ahead and share this link inside the chat as well. Baru Lars, Shmi. Now Shmi, she's the one that I would think that would be maybe higher, or you know, or something like that, or maybe this fits right in with her. You know, for the reasons maybe why the Force chose her. I don't know. Like I said, there's nothing to go off on with this. And Lando Calrissian and Shmi are about the same. Boba Fett 15,000, Han Solo 15,000, Jango 15,000. So this looks like right here, looks like, oh well, these guys, we'll just make them all equal here. So
yeah, like it was getting too tired to
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is another bullshit thing.
yeah. And so this
Because
almost,
he's not citing any sources.
yeah, I would love to see sources. Let me see. Let me go down here. Recent posts. I would love to really go into this and see, like, because we already know, it has to be 7,000 to be considered to train as a Jedi. Um, and I would love to see. Oh, we do have Cornhorn here. 10,700. He doesn't have his ability. He doesn't have telekinesis. So I wonder if he should be like in 9,000s or something like that.
Yeah, he should be lower because he's lacking something.
Yeah. I mean, he does have some abilities that make up for it, but still, I think that maybe, because of that, because isn't telekinesis like one of the main things that usually all Jedi have?
Yeah, and Mara Jade is higher than Darth Bane. Not to take anything away from Mara Jade, but Bane should be way higher.
Yeah. Considering that, what he does and what we learn of him in the trilogy.
Yeah, Revan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because they keep saying, in the KOTOR game that Revan was the most powerful one, right?
Yeah.
At the time, and
Yeah.
Call Katarn, I figured shouldn't even be that high, but even if I like him.
You're like, I have some common sense about this. But this guy shouldn't even be on the list, or at least he should be like way significantly low, like 50 or something, because he only has his organs, his eyes, part of his face, and his brain. Considering that they took away from Anakin, well, not here, Anakin, Darth Vader, they kept him the same here. But even George Lucas said that he lost some of his force abilities or his force sensitivity or midichlorians by the loss of his arms and his some of his body parts. So yeah, I mean, so like I said, I wish. Go ahead.
I saw a Darth Rage person as well in this list. I'm not even sure who that is.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Looking it up now.
Okay.
Probably something lame.
All right. Let me go ahead and copy this link and put it in the chat for you all. Oops. All right.
It seems to be a fan fiction character.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. What do you guys have to say? Let's go ahead. Like I said, we strayed from the hero's journey, and that's okay. Because I'm going to, on top of doing the lore reviews that I'm doing, I'm also going to add the hero's journey and break down piece by piece of the journey of Luke. And so I already did like the clothing significance, like what, how the clothing helps us see the change as well and how significant that is. Kyle Katarn is kind of overrated. That's what Jedi Padawan said. Oh, that's a conversation here. Matthew,
Kyle Katarn is not overrated, you little swat, Tano.
When we get to Dark Forces, I am going to have you on my panel for that review. And maybe I'll bring in some other people. Who knows? So, okay. So just
bring on Callum.
Okay.
Because he just played through the game.
Okay.
You can watch the whole playthrough on his channel.
All right. Just like Yoda and the Emperor having lightsabers, Lucas could have them in the OT, and the Emperor being called Sidious could have been there as well if he wanted to. He could have changed that, but I think it's okay that we see his transformation from, Palpatine to Darth Sidious to be known into the galaxy as the Emperor. So I think it still makes sense. It's not like character X beats character Y because they have higher count. True.
Exactly. Because Jason had crap. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, come on now, Stig. Come on now, Boomer.
I was gonna talk shit about Jason, but I forgot what it was.
Do you hear that, Lethal? Well, here we go. Here we go. And once it comes back to his mind, he's going to blurt that out. Watch. All right. Open airlock policy. Hello, and thank you for coming in and joining in the chat. I am reasonably sure that these counts come from Star Wars Graphics, the UK publication that came out in 2016, even though it came out in 2016 is Legends. I'm about to look that up. Thank you so much. Because I want to be able to see what the franchise under George, came of this and how they came up with these counts and how they are relevant to training and all that. I would love to, find out more. Jedi.
I know what this is. Why? What is this?
What?
Because she had Anakin's sperm in her.
Oh my god. So when she was pregnant with the twins, shouldn't her count be higher too then?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh goodness gracious! I didn't even have to read that. Thank you for the comment, Stig, or answering or replying. All right, but without the prequels and without Anakin being the chosen one, midichlorians are no way essential if they would have been in the OTR pre-PTEU. George again, and I don't mind him using that as a way of explaining how they tested Anakin.
No, the midichlorians were invented in '78, I think, or even earlier, because there's an old interview with Lucas talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he was gonna have the midichlorians in the OT.
Yeah,
but
right.
It didn't find room for them, basically.
Yeah, and then so using that to give us an insight in how they determine someone being trained or being brought into the Jedi Academy to be trained, it makes sense to me. Let's see here. Which was a fine way to say Anakin was the chosen one and how to measure that. Exactly. Where's Ahsoka?
She's in the barn with Sophia.
Talking about the midichlorian counts, but yeah. What do you think? Okay, so prediction. What do you think her count would be?
Oh, the way Filoni's made her, she should be at 50,000 easily. Up there with Rey.
She's greater than her master, right?
Oh, in any sense, in every sense of the word.
Need to be considered for training as a Jedi is a very deep character. She's getting a Disney Plus show. I am going backwards instead of going down to the very recent one.
No,
so.
She's Disney canon, so she doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. All we need to know about the Force is perfectly described by Obi-Wan in Star Wars and Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. Midichlorians only were added to the saga for when Anakin chosen one prophecy, and I think we already covered that. Stig already mentioned.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in the OT. Lucas said so.
Aunt Brew was more than Han and Boba Fett. I don't know who makes that up. I'll be back. Got a shower before work. Thank you for coming. I know I'm going back in direction instead of going to the most recent. I'm going back. Midichlorians don't really mean power rating. It's basically just yeah, we already covered that. Yeah, so that was very interesting. Thank you so much. And just seeing fans different guessing on different characters and counts and stuff. And so I think what the first one I shared was maybe more or less the Disney lore, maybe. Who knows? Like I said, I would love to explore that a little bit more on how these were predicted or how these came about. Let me see here. Luke ended up being worthless due to Disney, but I don't see that as canon. Leia ended up being the Jedi Master Luke was intended to be. They explained this by saying Yoda said she was the last hope. That was just in the OT. That was just to show that he had a sister, he had his twin that has the same potential. In the original lore, we seen her potential. She went along more or less her mom's path, but still became a Jedi, and it made sense in the original lore. And Luke, in the sense, went along his dad's path and that still made sense. But then when you look at their character and you compare them to their parents, Leia had the quick wit temper that Anakin had, but her profession and her skills were more or less as a politician. And then Luke had the same demeanor and wits and whatever you of his mom, though his path was more like his dad's. So I think that was the nice little contrast that we had there. Matt G. Laugh Out Loud. Ahsoka is on a special list. Her count is in letters, so no one can figure it out. Matt got it. With Rinsler not accepting the Disney movies as part of George's canon, I pretty much have to agree with him.
That also goes for the Clone Wars because Filoni did stuff in it that George didn't want him to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so that was very interesting. That was fun, comparing and stuff like that and checking it out. So we'll go ahead and move on a little bit more. I want to wrap up by 11 my time, and we have like 5 minutes. Maybe we'll go over a little bit more over time here. So in the hero's journey, we have the dark road of trials. And so basically what that is when the Empire Strikes Back opens the hero's journey. So we're starting the Empire Strikes Back portion of the OT. Is only at the midpoint. This is the point at which begins, as Italian poet Dante describes it, a journey through hell. All right, so this has his little insert of what that poem is. Midway in our life's journey, I went astray from the straight road and woke to find myself alone in a dark wood. How shall I say what wood that was? I never saw a so dreary, so rank, so arduous, a wilderness. Its very memory gives a shape of fear. Death could scarce maybe bitter than that place. So basically he's talking about Luke going and training in the swamp, as well as meeting, like the Empire coming down on them at the base at Hoth, and him, facing that and then going into training as well. And
Yeah,
then
it's
we also have
all the trials and failures he goes through.
exactly
He needs to grow through that.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the hunt part of it, and that's where we see Vader talking with the bounty hunters and really looking for Luke, as well as the rebel base. And he sends out those droids, the probe droids out to search for them as well. And so we have the hunt going on as well.
Yeah, including the trap he sets with Han to get Luke to get there, because that's
exactly. And another part of like the Wampa Cave is another part of the dark road of trials as well. And into the belly of the beast. So this goes with Han and Leia. And part of this goes with it because when they're fleeing Vader and the Empire, the fleet, they go into the asteroid that has that space worm. And so they have that right there. So I'm not going to expand a little bit more on that, but they have that as part of the threshold. And it's a spiritual journey for the two, because they're starting to progress and change with each other, if that makes sense. So this shares a little bit more. So in a sense, Luke's beast into the belly of the beast could be, like Stig said, when they're in the Death Star and then the Trask compactor, and he's taken down by the compactor monster.
Dianoga.
There we go. Thank you. And then so we have like the into the belly of the beast, basically for Han and Leia, is going into that worm. And so that's very interesting. And then the mystical marriage. So with this rebirth and the opening of their hearts to love, the real romance between Leia and Han is only just beginning, but this is a good time to look at the place that love holds in a hero's journey. After the obstacles have been surmounted and the monsters slain, the heroes and the heroine's ultimate adventure is the mystical marriage. So we start seeing the relationship, between Han and Leia, come our fruition, I guess you can say. So, like I said, even though this hero journey focuses a lot on Luke, we also see parts of it focusing on the other two main protagonists as well. And Stig, you said something important, or something, a little bit, or not a little bit, relevant to me about looking at Han as being more of a supportive character protagonist than anything else.
Yeah, I always saw him as a supporting character.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from him, basically moving away from being a smuggler and joining the rebels and growing as a person a little bit. I get why Harrison Ford felt Han could be killed off
Yeah.
if those movies are the only thing you have to go by.
Yeah. And
Because in episode 3, apart from being saved, he's basically just there doing something that others could have done as well.
yeah. Yes. And I agree. Open airlock policy. We are nerds. Definitely. No shame in that, right? Matthew got it. Even if they did not want Mara Jade, why not have Luke in the sequel with a son or a daughter? It would have continued the Skywalker story and would have been interesting. Even if they didn't have her and they rewritten Luke's story with a different, like with a daughter or whatever, it's still not going to be the original lore, which if they did it right, maybe still fans could have easily attached to it or whatever. So, we have that like what ifs now, and I wish we weren't there at this point, but what can we
They could
say?
they could have just made the new trilogy the sort of the Jedi trilogy. Have
Yeah, it could.
Jaina be the lead.
Yeah.
It's that simple, but they're incompetent. So
Yeah, well, the minute they cast aside the original EU is when we knew that they were going to go in a completely different um, direction. And
no, it's more they went full retard.
well, I'm kind of being a little bit nice on this, but yeah, when we've seen Kathleen Kennedy say, "I will, respect your characters," yeah, that was something else as well. Yes, we are nerds. Exactly. All right. So we also have the Sacred Grove, and so I talked a little bit about that when talking about going into the darkness as well, because part of that darkness is going into the cave for Luke. But we have the Sacred Grove where he seeks the master to train him some more, and there he begins more of his transformation as well. It's very interesting, and I love the I'll show this. I'll turn on my camera. I love the art here. So this was like the what do you call it? I can't even find the words for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So that was the conceptual art there. And I think that was amazing because a lot of it's spot on with what they were looking for that. So let's see here. And then we have the sacrifice and betrayal, and that goes into Cloud City. And so, we have Luke struggling to wanting to go help his friends. And so he sacrifices giving up his training to go help his friends. And then we also have Lando sacrificing his friends in a sense and betraying them as well so that he can protect Cloud City as well. And so we have all the dynamics going on.
Luke's hand is kind of sacrificed to help his friends as well.
Yes, there's so many sacrifices for each and every one of these characters that are involved. So we have like Luke sacrificing his training to go save his friends. We have Lando sacrificing his friends, his friendship, and he betrays them to help Cloud City, to keep Cloud City intact and protect the people in a sense. But then again, he also has a plan behind that we learn later. And then we have, Luke sacrificing his hand and learning the bitter truth of his lineage as well. And Leia, she her love is sacrificed as well and put into carbonite. So there's a lot of things going on in here. There's a lot of grit and grime going on in these scenes here. And at the end, it's not what you think was going to happen when you first see this going on, because when you first see Lando and how he betrays his friend, you're like, that bastard. But then towards the end, you realize that he had a plan, and he was making sure to protect his people, and also had a plan to help his friends out in the end. So very, very, I think it was really, really very well done on George's and on this part too as well. And then we also see Han getting tortured as well, getting electrocuted as well. And even Boba Fett was betrayed as well. So there's a lot of betrayal going on here. A lot. Hey, everybody. Hey, Stig and o.g.starwars. Hi. How you doing? It was a trap. Leia and Han were tortured to lure him to Cloud City. Yes. And again, they were sacrificed to lure Luke in, because that's who Vader's hunting or looking for, is Luke. Lando was caught up. Yep. It is so BS how Jake whines about the old Jedi ways and how the old Jedi are failures, yet the old Jedi order lasted way longer than Jake's order did. Good point. And his order fell apart because of his own actions. Great point. And C-3PO sacrificed his body temporarily. Yeah. Cloud City is part is like Game of Thrones. Laugh out loud. Really? Do you see that? Do you see that parallel?
Little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, so what do you see? Expand on it for us.
Well, Game of Thrones is more like backstabbing, not much sacrifice.
Yeah, I haven't really fully got into it, so.
Avoid the TV show at all cost.
Okay.
Read the books.
Okay.
Because after season 4, they go full Disney Star Wars. I'm not kidding. It's so dumb. It's insane.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah. And I have a lot of friends who watched it from the beginning to the end, and I listened to them talk about it. And then towards like after episode 4, I noticed that they're like, I can't believe this happened. Oh my God. Da, da, da. And it started getting more negative as it got closer to episode or season 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was warning people after season 4 when they started deviating from the books that this would have ripple effects.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be based on the books at all.
Yeah.
And people scolded me and blah, blah, blah. And now they're raging about season 8. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I eventually will get there. I promise. Matt G, they should have had Boba Fett accidentally kill Luke in the hallway in Empire. Laugh out loud. Sorry, Vader. Whoops. Well, that would have been end of the hero's journey completely, right? I always loved Han's quick draw on Vader, and Vader just blocks it with his hand. A laser blast. So yes, that was amazing. And it just shared with us like how scary and powerful, Vader was. He is the most loved villain ever, bad guy ever. Critches, not really, no backstabbing or incest.
Even though Luke and Leia tried a bit.
I will debate you guys on that, but we're not going to do that right now. Class Born, Lando did backstabbing.
I mean, if you look at Kylo, he's clearly the product of incest.
How is that?
He's weird looking, emo.
How is that? Right. Like how is it incest? Like,
I don't think it's Han's kid. I think it's Luke's.
No. Now you're going full on Disney Star Wars, aren't you, with that? Episode 4 of season 8 was directed by Ryan Johnson. Probably talking of Legacy or Game of Thrones.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Vader goes full Wonder Woman on Han. Cringe is not in Cloud City, though. Laugh might out sit. He probably means Stig. Unless he's telling someone to sit. I mean, who do you have over there? Okay, Lisa Lightning. Hey man, it was war. Luke and Leia gave into a weak moment. Ah ha ha ha. Yeah, yeah. That thing with that, like she kissed Luke to make Han jealous. So it was one sided, and at the time, and I like we all know that they didn't know they were siblings whatsoever, but that was to make Han jealous because they had something going on. There was something.
Yeah, yeah, but after the Endor battle in Disney canon, they got really drunk and made a Kylo, and that's why Luke tried to kill him to hide it. But yeah,
Albinostic is off the chain today. I love it. Yes, he is, but when is he? Is not. Willie Woodward. Yeah, Stig. If that was the case, my ass would be incest because I'm weird looking and emo mainly as a Steen. OG Star Wars. Yeah, Stig is a legend. Yes, they are loving you, Stig. We love you. Let me see here. Luke and Leia Targaryen, the first of their name, use the Force and bend the knee, my lord. Okay. All right, you guys are just off the hook right now. A bit late for abortion. Oh my god. All right, let's go on here. So we have the hero's return. So this is beginning the return of the Jedi here, and so we have Leia's rescuing Luke because he finds out the truth of his lineage. He loses his hand and his saber, and he basically sacrifices himself because he refuses to join Vader. And he'd rather die than do that or sacrifice himself. And so we have Leia saving him again, significant, growth, because the soon to be, or the hero, the person that's leading the hero's journey here does need help. And that's significant throughout the OT. And that's even significant in Return of the Jedi. And so we have the hero's return, and Luke, puts together this plan to rescue Han. And so we have all the heroes planted in there at some point, and we see all of that and how they weren't really successful until Luke got there, and even Luke wasn't that successful. Hence, we have the Sarlacc pit, offering, I guess you could say.
yeah. Sometimes a bikini alone isn't enough. You need more.
The bikini lady choking the big old slug.
Yeah, you need more than that. You need a. I like that he had hidden the lightsaber inside R2 though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had Lando in disguise and all that, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it wasn't the best of plans all in all. Could have gone south really fast at several key moments.
Yeah.
If the Rancor had eaten Luke, what would they have done then?
Exactly. And I talked about this on Twitter a little bit, like with someone. We kind of debated back and forth on this. So when Luke is in the Rancor pit and he's battling for survival, basically, do you think he was using the Force, Stig?
No.
Okay.
Not much, because he could have used the Force to close the gate. He threw a rock.
Exactly.
Which shows us that Luke isn't that skilled. He's not he's not the Mary Sue people claim he is, just to defend Rey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the person that I was discussing this with, they were like, "Oh no, he was using the Force because when he threw the rock, he hit it. His aim was sure, and he got it the first chance." And I'm like, if he was going to use the Force, wouldn't there be a way? Like, wouldn't he be able to use what's it called? Where we seen Anakin do it, where he calms the beast with using the Force.
Or he could just use the Force to press the button.
Exactly. open the gates and stuff like that. And so we're still seeing him learning how to connect with the Force, and not fully connecting it with it when he really needs to connect with it. And so we're still seeing that progression.
Yeah,
That's how
he
I see
all he did was throw a rock. That's all he
that.
did.
Yeah, exactly. So we have the resurrection part, and I don't think I skipped on anything here. Yeah, the hero's journey. Then we have the resurrection. In the third film of the trilogy, each of the heroes faces enormous task and discovers new inner resources that allow him and her to triumph. Leia, in particular, is full of surprises. As the movie begins, she disguises herself as a bounty hunter. Um, Bush. So
Bitch.
BOUSHH.
It's a bitch.
Bitch. She disguises herself as a bounty hunter called Bitch.
Yeah, the bitch
And
hunter.
the Bitch Hunter. And forces her way into Jabba's court in order to rescue Han. Jabba, a monstrously fat and maliciously destructive creature, has kept Han encased in his carbonite tomb for the sheer pleasure of seeing the pirate's innate vitality imprisoned. In the middle of the night, Leia sidesteps the guards and melts Han's carbonite shell, allowing him to rise miraculously from the dead. So we have hers, and we know that she's then captured, and they're then captured, and she becomes a slave Leia, basically, to Jabba. And then we have
Yeah, and the thermal detonator counts as a surprise still.
yeah, she was brilliant with that. And so we have her her resurrection, her transformation going on. Like I said, all three of them have their own hero's journey. Again, Luke's more significant because he's the main character. And then we have Lando that is planted inside as well. And if you are privy to Shadows of the Empire, then you know exactly what is going on. Han is already sent out, or Lando's already sent out to find Han. And so when we see him in Return of the Jedi, we know that he's already planted himself inside Jabba's palace. And we didn't really need the story to understand, really, but that just expands on it a little bit more. And there's her slave outfit.
Yeah. No, Critches, it's not like that. It's simply Luke throwing a rock, and it's not even that far.
Yeah, so it's like Anakin piloting the podcast racer before he knew he could use the Force. You know what? And the thing is, and I'll say this again, is that Force users, especially like with Anakin and those that are very strong in the Force, or even anybody that's strong in the Force, there's an innate use of it, which basically is instinct. And they don't really know that they have the Force. They're just like trusting their intuition.
Yeah, and at this point, Luke knows enough about the Force to use it actively.
Exactly. And so
And
he's not using innate.
Yeah, and it's even in the novelization. I think he's just throwing a rock. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. And then so we have the monster combat, and that's Luke and battling the Rancor. So that's part of the hero's journey is the monster combat in that. And then this is like one of probably everybody likes this scene right here.
This is where the incest really begins, because you can tell Luke is looking at her cleavage.
Oh my God, Stig!
Well, yes.
He is not looking down at her cleavage. He's looking away from them to where they're swinging at, darling.
It's a lingering gaze.
No, it's not even. He's not even looking down at her cleavage. Okay, but this is amazing. Look at that.
Ooh.
Isn't that is crazy amazing? I love that. And that is the Emperor. And then the resurgence of evil. So we have Leia killing, Jabba, and them rescuing each other from the Sarlacc and stuff. And then we have the resurgence of evil. Regeneration is not just the province of the good. However, evil too has tendency to rise again. In Greek mythology, this resurgence is symbolized by the monster Hydra, with its dog-like body and many snaky hands. Whenever one of these hands is cut off, the new ones spring up in its place. The heroes Hercules finally vanquishes the monster with the help of his nephew, um, Iolaus. I sorry I butchered that. As Hercules cuts off each of Hydra's heads. Iolaus applies a blazing branch to the stump, preventing more hands from growing. This is very interesting. I love this. In Star Wars mythology, the resurgence of evil takes in the form of the new Death Star. The resurgence of evil, or yeah, under construction by the Empire, who, while the Rebel Alliance has continued to struggle against its tyranny. So we have that resurgence. So we have that, born again evil, and they basically just cut off a portion of the head, and it grew back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I
that.
I guess you could say that the reappearance of the AT-ATs and all that too from a
Mm-hmm.
former battle is counts. They're basically fighting the same thing again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have the enchanted forest and the helpful animals. So we have the Ewoks coming in, and there's either you like or you don't like. And what the Ewoks did, I think it was a nice adage, because not everybody is very technologically inclined, like we see in Star Wars, and there are still primitive people, and they're not just like humanoids. And we very well see these little cute teddy bears that are basically, I'm going to say this, savages. So
Yeah,
what?
and they're clearly gonna eat Han and Luke,
Yeah.
so they're carnivores.
Hmm.
Don't trust them.
Don't trust them whatsoever. Yeah, and Lethal Lightning said he's not a fan of Ewoks, and I like I said, I respect that. Not everybody is a fan of them. They do have a purpose, and maybe George could have done it better. I don't know, but I get it. And here's another concept art of them carrying C-3PO there.
Yeah, they look better in the movies.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, seeing primitive people help, I wouldn't say more civilized, but more technologically advanced people overcome, have the same mission to overcome and defeat the stormtroopers that are invading the planet there. So
And
yeah,
they're furries with Down syndrome.
furries with Down syndrome.
Yeah, really dangerous.
Murder bears still have my stuffed toy. Laugh out loud. Oh yes, I remember seeing that. That's pretty cool. I love that. Wookiees, Ewoks, Porgs, and Gungans are the worst. Wow. Wookiees too?
Yeah, he has a thing. He hates the Wookiees because of
I know.
Jason.
I know. I think it's funny. I love it. Critches, they had a purpose, but they were too overly cute. That's the thing, is that looks, you can't really like, looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. Okay, Gungans are greater than Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right, so we're almost done with this hero's journey, and then we'll call it a day. So we have the descent into the underworld. So once again, Luke realizes that he must set out on a different path from his friends to attempt to reach that part of Vader that is still Anakin Skywalker and turn him back from the dark side. Luke's trip into the second Death Star is another descent into the underworld, a classic theme in Greek and Roman mythology. Hercules brings his friend Theseus back from Hades. Anas' journey there to converse with his father, and I'm gonna butcher this, because I don't know his name very well. And Jesus, I probably said that wrong. Sorry. Now Luke will confront his own father and discover whether atonement is possible. So we're seeing him going into the underworld again. You know, when we see the hero arise, he has conquered both the ordinary and the underworlds to come out transformed. And that's what we're getting at.
Yeah, and given that he's surrounded by the dark side,
Mm-hmm.
in the Emperor's chamber is also a underworld thing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Lethal lightning. That's my issues with the Ewoks too far on the clearly made for merchandise. Yeah, I see that. Wicket had a more happy end to his story. He has a son in Rise of Skywalker, and if the of the Ewok chief, is that what you're trying to say?
Is the Ewok
Oh,
chief?
okay. Yeah,
The
I
Ewoks were in Rise of Skywalker. I don't remember that.
maybe in the novel,
I don't know.
maybe. Critches, most likely yes, they were made for merch purposes. And George Lucas was really good at tying his movies into merchandise and stuff like that as well. In fact, he broke world records with the merchandise as well. Um, so props to him. So we have the atonement with the father. So it's getting good. So let's get to that. Luke attracts Vader in a frenzy of hate. So we have him going in there. You know, we have those scenes that are very memorable when he's telling his father that I believe you're still Anakin, and Vader's like basically that I do not relate to him anymore, and I must do what my master says. You don't know the power of the dark side kind of banter that they're doing. And then Luke was like, well, then my father is really dead. That scene right there when they're at the platform looking over the forest of Endor moon was very significant, because that's when we start seeing Luke using psychological, I would say warfare or talk or whatever, counseling to Vader to bring up Anakin, because Anakin already has, is already feeling, already remembering, like he lost his wife, but he now has a son that survived. And so all this thing, all these emotions that Anakin had, this love that Anakin had is coming up. And so Vader's trying to suppress that. Um, let's see where I left off at. All right, so we have him, Luke attacks his father in frenzy hate, and this time it is who he beat. This time is he who beats Vader down and severs his father's sword hand, which turns out to be a mechanical appendage. As the Empire urges Luke to finish his father, Luke looks at his own mechanical hand and realizes that he is on his way to become the next Vader. And so Luke casts aside his lightsaber, mastering his worst instincts and refusing to obey the Emperor's command. That's very significant right there. And enraged, the Empire uses his own dark powers to zap Luke. As Luke pleads with his father to help, the crucial moment has arrived. Will Vader be able to redeem himself? Will Luke achieve the atonement with his father that marks the final passage on his journey? And that just gave me chills. So we see that compare and contrast here. Luke holds, no matter how far he strays into the dark side, he realizes that, through what his actions that mirrors, like his own action of like his hand being mechanical and him chopping off his father's mechanical hand, that he realizes that he's in danger, that he's going against his very instinct and his very way of like becoming dark, that he doesn't agree with becoming dark as well. And so that right there was his pivotal moment, and also Vader's pivotal moment on if he's gonna come out and rescue his son and become Anakin again. So that, you want to expand on that a little bit more?
No, it's a perfect ending to a saga, just like the old myths and legends. It wraps things up, and this is why people resonate with it, because everyone knows the story, kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's from every culture, so.
Yeah. Exactly. So we have the unmasking. So we have Vader coming out. He's redeemed. Luke is basically now transformed, because when he throws that saber, And this is not him. This not comparable to Luke tossing the saber behind his back. Not, it's not compared whatsoever. Luke is saying, I am not going to listen to you, Emperor. I am not going to um, obey you. I am a Jedi like my father before me.
Yeah, and
You
this is foreshadowed in episode
know?
5.
Yeah.
You see it when he kills Vader in the
Hmm.
cave. He sees his own face in the helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there. Yeah, that's not the same as Luke tossing the lightsaber in Return of the. Sorry, what was it? The last shit.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, so there's no comparison whatsoever. He is declaring himself as a full Jedi, and he will sacrifice himself for the greater good, and that's what Jedis do. Whether they have the saber in their hand or not, that they go to protect others, to sacrifice themselves for the greater good if they need to. They also, and I've seen this being debated on Twitter as well, and with many people, that Jedi's are not, they don't fight in wars in a sense, or they don't act on war, but they are there to protect the peace or whatever. And my thing with this is that if Jedis need to go into war, it's to defend peace, to defend people of the galaxy, and that they do train for war if they have to act on it. That's why they carry their sabers. That's why they are called knights. So that's just my take on that. All right, Luke was using the power of mind control. I love the novelization of Vader smiling in his helmet, knowing what Luke is doing. Yes. Return of the Jedi is the best, in my honest opinion. Laugh out loud, Vader's coming out. Yes, he's coming out. He's coming out as Anakin. He's coming out of the closet, out of the dark cave. Okay, Matthew. When Luke throws away his only means of defense, his Jedi weapon, knowing he will probably die. A lot of people disagreed with that and had no idea what Lucas was doing. Critics, I mean. I am here for you, or I'm here to save you. You already, Luke. You are right. You are right about me. Yes, that is who. Yes, chills. Yes, I agree. OG and Stig, do you guys want a Vader movie set between episode 3 and 4? So Stig, I'll let you answer that, and we're coming to the end of this hero's journey.
With
So
Disney canon, fuck no. They've ruined him more than enough in Rebels when it turned him into incompetent idiot. I don't
mm-hmm.
want that to happen on the big screen.
Hmm. I don't know. I really, I don't know. I don't think, I mean, they made him like this little, like to give Rogue One some more interest towards the fans. They brought him in towards the end to, be, to show his sheer, him as a threat to the rebels and stuff, and how badass he is and stuff. But do you really think that they're going to do him justice if they brought him back?
No, they wouldn't.
I'm on the fence about that, because what I've seen with what they did with Luke, I just don't trust them. I just
Yeah,
don't.
and even the Rogue One scene, it was cool,
Yeah.
but it creates a plot hole with Episode 4
Mm-hmm.
because in Episode 4 it says several transmissions were beamed aboard this ship. Well, in Rogue One, that's, I don't know, hours before, he sees one plan getting beamed up to a different ship and then carried physically over
Mm-hmm.
to Leia's ship. So, no,
Yeah.
several transmissions were not beamed aboard
Yeah.
Leia's ship, and he knows it.
Yeah. And I've debated that in the past before, because that's something critical, because you go from, if you watch that in order, you go from that to Vader then on the ship and talking about, like you said, several transmissions being beamed. And so then if you pay close attention, you'd be like, what? I just watched them carry him to her.
Yeah, and then Leia goes, "Yeah, this is a diplomatic mission," and blah blah blah. She
Mm-hmm.
knows Vader saw them. He was right
Mm-hmm.
behind her ship.
Yeah.
So it's the dumbest. excuse or bluff, whatever it is,
Hmm.
in movie history.
Yeah, because why would she be at Scarif if it was a diplomatic mission?
Yeah, and she knows he saw her.
Yeah, exactly. When we look at the lore, she's in a total different spot, total different area than what we see in Rogue One. So, and that's why she has to have the plans beam or sent out to her through transmission.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it makes perfectly more sense with that. So Jeffrey Turner, OG Star Wars. What's interesting is that the feud between Luke and Vader mirrors George's feud with his own father. Luke equal Lucas. Disrespect Luke, you disrespect Lucas.
Yep.
All right, Critches. Yeah, I don't agree with Luke throwing his saber aside. It's one thing to not fight in anger or revenge, but another to defend himself. The Emperor was still a valid threat.
Yeah, but Luke was falling to the dark side. That's the problem.
If
He
he would
was
have still
basically
considered,
being turned.
yeah, so if he would have kept the saber on him and still fought, he would probably have gone to the dark side. And one thing I remember in the lore, Luke remembering, like, I was never trained to, you know, um, to deflect with the saber lightning. Like, if you knew about the lightning, basically, then maybe he wouldn't have tossed it. But then we never know. So, but that's one thing that he was never shown, was that Sith can shoot lightning at you. So that's an interesting little take right there. So, and also in the lore, he tried to because there's a force ability that they can what do you call it, not block lightning as it's being shot at you, but you absorb it to protect yourself, which we see, with Yoda. And so he tried that, but he wasn't that strong in his training to really, really protect himself. And so that's why we see him overcoming, and to the lightning, force lightning. Okay, let's see here. Critics did not understand the spiritual significance of Luke's sacrifice. Lucas understood, but critics are dense. Why does Luke just not kill Vader and the Emperor? He has the power to do it, they said. They just want quick gratification. They don't want to put any thought into the overall, like, lore that's put into the movie.
Which is ironic because Star Wars is basically very simplified myths and legends. So
Mhm.
Lucas has already simplified it, and yet they still can't get it.
Yeah. So Lethal Lightning says canon Vader movie would be about his transition. Oh Lord. Artistic Lego Films, Vader would have killed the entire Rebels cast if the first episode they meet him. In the first episode they meet him.
Yeah, instead he let them go.
Yeah.
He should have
All
killed
right.
the Jedi's at least.
Yeah. All right, Jeffrey Turner, thank you for coming in. Um, I'm glad to have you here participating. This is fun. Hope to see you next Thursday, or maybe tonight with Queen's Council. Um, I trust them to do the worst thing possible, if that counts as trust. I agree, Stig, but the hallway scene is cool to watch. And that's the thing, it was really cool to watch because we never got to see Vader. And that's the thing, too. That's another thing where you see Vader in Rogue One going badass in the hallway. But then when we see him go on Leia's ship, that's all casted aside. So we go from one extreme to the other. He could have done the same thing in Leia's ship.
Yeah, exactly.
So who knows? Just like they don't understand why Fordo must destroy the ring. Why not use it to rule Middle Earth and make things better? Whoops, where did it go? Okay. Jade Shadow, what about a movie when Lucasfilm has a complete changing of the guard based on the Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader? Oh, the book.
Oh, I would watch that one.
Yes, I love that. Even like the scenes when you read the book, the scenes on Kashyyyk when he's, you know, when he's battling some of the Jedi. Oh my God, that would have been great to see, because you had burning Kashyyyk and the burning cities up in the Worshire trees going down, and the bombardment of the planet and all that, and some of the Jedi trying to escape as well. And that would just be just phenomenal to see. He catches them red-handed. That's my biggest gripe with Rogue One. Sith, and for so many reasons, Rey could shoot lightning, laugh out. Luke missed that chapter. There's that green lightning, or the judgment. Was it called something judgment for the lightning that Jedi could use, but it's not one of them that they recommend for Jedi to use. Just like the Vapad saber dueling technique. In a perfect world where force judgment or something like that. In a perfect world where Lucasfilm is not under KK's control, I'll take any story about any character under the right leadership and creative mind, but that probably isn't anytime soon. Sadly,
No,
probably
it's actually impossible to do because
not. Mm-hmm.
the lore and the universe is the foundation of any fantasy story.
Yeah.
And Disney Star Wars has no foundation anymore, so you can't build on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lethal Lightning's like, yeah, that would be great. Trash planet getting wrecked. And that's the thing. We see Vader doing that, bombardment of Kashyyyk. And then, centuries later, or like in when we see Darth Caedus, he kind of does the same thing as well. So we see Vader, bombardment because, they are harboring the Jedi fugitives per Order 66. And then later on in the third generation, Leia's son as Darth Caedus, they again are harboring Jedi as well. And so we see the same kind of a similar parallel between the two. So, probably Lethal Lightning would like what I had just said. I don't think they don't understand it. They just think it is dumb. I also think that is why they hate Return of the Jedi but love Last Jedi. I just think they are nihilists. Who knows?
They love The Last Jedi because Ryan Johnson is an SJW and the movie is full of SJW crap.
Yeah.
The reason they like it has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Yeah. As much as Darth Caedus wasn't a Vader fanboy, he is the real heir to Vader. Exactly. I'd never seen him as a Vader fanboy, and that's what I loved about his transition from Jason to Darth Caedus. In fact, seeing him flow walk and seeing witness what his grandfather did, with the slaughter of the Jedi and all that stuff. He's like, I don't want to be like him. But there's still parallels to them. So I thought it was very, very interesting. Very interesting. And I think Jason, Darth Caedus is well done. Well done. Emerald Lightning or Electric Judgment. There we go. Electric Judgment are some variations of that. Yes, exactly. So we're going to go ahead and finish up this hero's journey so we can get moving. I'm went a lot longer than I expected to, but that's okay. So then we get to the unmasking. One of the overarching themes of Return of the Jedi is the stripping away of disguises to reveal the true being within. Leia, for example, first appears in this film and I'm gonna read through all this because I like this right here. Leia, for example, first appears in the film in a tough disguise and hard mask. We might see this as symbolic of her original persona. When this is stripped away, she reveals herself to be a sensual, loving woman as well. In cultures where myth are acted out as part of a ritual, masks serve as several purposes. In Africa, masks have been used to ward off enemies, to summon ancestors, and to celebrate alliances among tribes. The mask can also invoke supernatural beings. Vader's mask is the most visible aspect of this his demonic persona. It is also a part of the machinery that supports his life, even as it robbed him from his personal identity as a human being. As Darth Vader's, as the Death Star is wrecked by explosion from the rebel barrage, Luke tries to carry his father to safety. They collapse as they reach the main docking bay. Vader insists that Luke removes his helmet and a mask, although it will mean his certain death. The face that is revealed is deeply scarred, yet strangely uniformed and undifferentiated. As Joseph Campbell puts it, the message is clear: one cannot develop one's humanity by serving a system. So he's taken off the machinery and becoming himself again. Luke helped him transform. And that's what that taking off the mask means, is that he's given up that machinery, the dark side, and we're seeing the humanness in him. We're seeing Anakin again for, from like what, 30 or 20 something odd years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is very significant in the story. And alone, that scene has a lot to say, even though the lines, the talk between the two is very minimal. It's to the point. Even taking off the mask reveals the humanity of Anakin, and we get to finally see the person behind the dark side and the machinery that keeps him alive, and he has transformed. Yeah. And so we have the final victory as the rebels celebrate the release of the galaxy from the bondage of the emperor. Luke gives his father a hero send-off by placing his armor on the funeral pyre. In myth and ritual, fire is associated with purification, and the hero spirit is thought to rise on the smoke to the heavens. The Greek hero Hercules was carried up to Olympus from his funeral pyre and made one with the gods. Anakin, having attained grace through his love for his son, undergoes a similar apotheosis. As Luke rejoins his friends, he looks back to see his father has been reunited with Ben and Yoda from a triad of Jedi Knights. The wisdom and the compassion of the sage, the saint, and the warrior hero now live on in Luke. The atonement is complete. Joseph Campbell sums up the transcendent moment in this way. The hero, for a moment, rises to a glimpse of the source. He beholds the face of the Father, understands, and the two are atoned. For the Son, who has grown really to know the Father, the agonies of the ordeal are readily borne. The world is no longer a vale of tears, but a bliss yielding, perpetual manifestation of the presence. So there we go. And we have the transformation, the atonement between the son with the Father. We have the redemption of Anakin, and we have Luke transforming, overcoming the ordinary and the underworld to transform as a Jedi, all in one. And there you have it, ladies and gents, the hero's journey. So, Stig, you want to add to anything?
No.
No.
Hey, Matthew, take a picture of that.
Yeah, hold on.
Send it to o.g.starwars on Twitter.
Fire is purification. Vader in episode 3 on Mustafar would like a word with you.
Well, he turned pure evil after.
Yeah, he transformed to evil, and then fire, basically. So I guess you could see that.
He burned his dick off. Mustafar.
Now, how accurate is that? I mean, how do we know?
Because his crotch was near the lava.
That
it burned for quite a while.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Matthew got it. Lucas signed off on Dark Empire and the Zon Trilogy as official sequels, and at late as 1940 or 1949. Geez, I can't even read anymore. 1994. Consider the EU canon. I have the Splinter of the Mind's Eye preface where he says so. the EU has always been in canon with the movies, but the canon was the overall like foundation and set the presence of the overall lore as well. And as long as the EU did not contradict the movies, it was all authentic. That's what
Yep.
George used, the word authentic. And yeah, he had the right to go back and say, you know what, I don't want to use this in the lore anymore and recreate it if he wanted to, because he is the original creator. Everybody had to check in with him, work with him, go along with the guidelines that he set when creating the lore outside of the movies that basically went along with and aligned with the movies. So
Magic Godet it says sometimes during the prequels or Clone Wars or who knows when he decided the EU was not canon. He never decided that. There's an interview with him from a couple of years ago. He's talking about his own sequel trilogy, and he says the sequel trilogy would focus on Anakin's grandchildren, and he
yeah.
says they're already in the novels.
Mm-hmm. And Lethal Lightning, but George didn't say it. Oh, yeah. So that's the thing. That's what everybody's like. Oh, well, George said it wasn't canon. George never used the word canon. He never. He never. You know, he used the word authentic at one point, but I mean, when you look at it, he never used the word canon, but he set the rules and guidelines to the EU lore to match up and align with the movies. And we all know that he has the right to say, I no longer want to use that as part of the canon or part of the movies or part of the lore. And he can change things up if he wanted to, because he is the original creator. But there's a lot of things that was kept intact and went along with the movies. And then there were some small retcons that were happening before the buyout of Star Wars to make sure that everything fit. So, yeah. And I won't, talk about the sore thumb in the room, I guess you can say, when it comes to the lore. We won't go there. So, artistic Lego films. Wasn't George who decided that EU was okay? We already read that one. I hope Lucas buys back Star Wars very cheap. I don't know. I don't think he wants to. You mean Lucas considered it canon? Mind blowing. Ha ha ha. Exactly. It's mind blowing. I think Filoni was the biggest effect on the EU losing its canon status. Much of the changes to the lore happened because the second Clone Wars series. Yeah, I agree. I asked these people if the EU was never considered canon, why did Disney make a big deal about throwing it out? Exactly. That's my thing too. And then they'll say, well, they never really said that before, or, and they come up with all these excuses and they go back to the same damn quote. Same quote. I mean, every single person who has tried to rebuttal me in this talk goes back to the same quote. And I'm like, that was back in the early time. And when you read the whole quote, and it's like just a portion of the quote, but when you read it in full, nowhere does it say that it's not, the EU is not canon. And
Yeah,
what
but
George is
there's
talking about.
several quotes of George basically saying it's canon. He never used the word canon.
Yeah.
That was Leland Shee, wasn't it? Came up with that.
Yeah, when he has his employees, when his employees talk about it, they use the word canon, but they also say canon is just like the continuity. They're one and the same. And but his staff used the word canon, but he never did. And they create a hierarchy of canon based upon George's philosophy that his movies sets the guidelines and is overall everything else, and everything has to evolve from the movies. And rightfully so. He's the one who created Star Wars.
Yeah, everything not the movies was EU because it's expanded universe, expanded from the movies. They even had a separate tier for TV shows that was supposed to be, well, it was the Clone Wars, but it was also supposed to include the Star Wars Underworld show that never happened.
Yeah. So Critches, I mean, Lucas had a veto of sorts over the EU story, so there was a degree of acknowledgement going on. He did more than that. Yes, he had his overall say, even if he just checked mark this and crossed out that.
He
Um,
even helped create the stories for the EU
yeah,
with
there's
the
a lot of,
writers.
yeah, like even like Han or Chewie's death, and even Anakin Solo's death. So I mean, he had say. They had guidelines to follow, and there's like even with Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, they basically Tartakovsky and his group, faxed George their ideas for the miniseries, and George faxed back with him what he wanted to see and all this other stuff. So there's a lot. People don't realize how much George had a say in everything and help develop everything. I mean, it's all there.
Yeah,
It's his company. Of course, he has the say.
yeah, and George Lucas used so many things from the EU.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the name Coruscant, the name Mandalorian,
Mm-hmm.
a pile of the Jedi's in the in episode 3.
Yeah. And so Artist Lego Film says George didn't create Apollo's blue twilight goddess. That was all the book's handiwork.
Yep, that's Ila Secura. George
Hmm.
read the comic, liked her, put her in the movie.
Yeah. And the
She's
thing,
she's, she's not in episode 1. She's in
mhm.
episode 2 and 3.
Yep. Yep. And then we also have the green Twi'lek in the OT. So basically, George did invent the Twi'leks. Maybe not different characters, or maybe he approved on different characters, but they were
Yeah,
there because of him.
but only the blue one counts
Mm-hmm.
because they're better.
Because they're better, huh? Blue Twi'leks' lives matter, right?
Hmm.
Jade Shadow is going to be an actual reveal. Oh wait, is it going to be an actual reveal, or will it be about SS? Let me see. What was that about? Did I miss something?
She's correcting herself, saying SSDs.
Oh,
I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry, Mara. Unless she's replying to someone. My coffee tastes better with this live stream. Thank you so much. Here we go. SSDs. There we go. George said both things. Though it was not his Star Wars. He's saying that the ideas came from them. However, they had to adhere to the guidelines and the principles that George created, and that even if it's their ideas even got shot down by George, because if he wanted it there in the EU, it was there. If he didn't, then it wasn't. And I think that's what people are misunderstanding, is that the EU, predominantly the ideas came from the writers. However, George had to say with what they were coming up with. And that's not only like he considered true continuation the post return. Okay, and then it says, but he also considered it a true continuation the post Return of the Jedi novels. So, and he also did not want any of the PT expanded on until he was done with the movies, because it's his lore, and so he wanted to create the lore in that era first before they expanded on it, and that makes sense. But he
Well,
also,
Aura Singh, I believe, was not his creation.
yeah, I know, and he also used some past lore characters in, and planets and other things in the PT. So he
Yeah,
took
was
outside.
it Dexter Jetster? He was from a novel from before the prequels.
Yeah, exactly. So that just shows how well everything's like tied in together. If only it only would lose its canon status if and when George did his own sequels. Timothy Zahn liked or talked about that. He knew everything he did in the trilogy could one day be wiped away.
Yeah,
Again,
that's
they
true.
all knew that George had the right to say, "Okay, I'm gonna go with my own way with this."
Yeah, but he didn't, because he was
Mm-mm.
supposed. He said it himself that the characters he was going to use for his sequel trilogy were already in the novels.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was going to stick to the EU.
Yeah, and he has proven he has stuck to the EU. Look at the PT.
Yeah.
George wanted them to off the Wookiees, the Wookiee. Yep, off Chewie. And that was great character arc for Han Solo, believe it or not. and it still stayed true to Chewie's character. He was committed to his life debt towards Han, and that also included his kids and his wife. So that's how I see it. Yeah, nothing left Lucasfilm without George's approval. Correct.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a video of Filoni bragging about how he tricked Lucas and got around that.
Yeah. So Artistic Lego Film said he is still Red Twi'lek. He's still Team Red Twi'lek.
Oh crap! They can be red too.
Yes, Stig.
No, I'm sticking with the Zeltrons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need 3 of them. One is going to be called Cook. One is going to be called Clean. The third one is going to be called Bedroom.
Oh God, I think I heard you say that so many times. You just have it well planned and thought out, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, Matthew got it. Lucas did oversee editorial decisions over the EU, though for him to say he had no involvement was ludicrous. Anakin Solo's death, Mara's death, Luke's marrying Mara were all his decisions. Exactly. Even though they was it Rensler's had the video, or part of Rensler's video said that he doesn't like Mara Jade. The thing is, if he didn't really want the character or liked him, they wouldn't be in there. I just don't think that, I don't know what I think about that, because the man's not speaking for himself. It's a secondary person. So until I hear that from George, and then I questioned, then why did you have her in the lore anyways? Then I only see that was half truth, or, just show me the evidence. See you later, Sith Lord. Nice having you here. We're going to get ready to close out. We went 3 hours today, and I was like, I'm not going to stay on live stream that long today. No, because I have another one later on tonight, but here I am. Here we are, Stig. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. So remember to press that like button and share this live stream later on. That would help me out immensely. I'm like 1,200 away from monetization, so that would be great. What Dexter Jester's midichlorian count? Pretty sure he's off the charts. Interesting. I gotta head off. Hail the EU. Much love. All wikis are trash. Thank you for coming in, Lethal Lightning, and joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you in here with us as well. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Matthew, the Emperor returning to in Dark Empire was George's idea. Fett being resurrected was approved by him. Exactly. I mean, it all links back to George. It all does.
Oh, George was going to add a scene to the the special edition Return of the Jedi, where Boba Fett is crawling out of the pit, but he didn't have time to shoot it, and George said that, and he was also going to add a shot of Mara Jade for the Jabba's,
from the throne.
Yeah, Jabba's throne room scene.
Yeah. Wow. Now the one Mara Jade, I don't remember that one, but I do remember the one about Boba Fett. So that would have been interesting if he did that, because again, he's going back to the EU to create continuity between the movies and the EU. So, and he's the kind of person that had full control of his lore and stuff, and so everything that he wanted, even in the movies, is what we see. And then when we see the special editions, or some things like he took executive decision as the sole creator to make those changes, to make sure that they fit well with the PT and stuff. So, so Stig is going to be the Hugh Hefner of Star Wars with the 3 Zeltron girlfriends. Laugh out loud. With his Jedi.
I can have more than 3 if I wish. I hope.
You're like, I wish, I hope. All right. So Artistic Lego Films, that all never made much sense about George's feelings towards Mara and Luke's marriage. He wouldn't have allowed it to happen. Exactly. That's my thing. So when you see that little quote that says, George didn't approve the Emperor coming back, Vader being resurrected, which never really happened, unless you go to the in canon, the what ifs. And then Luke getting married. Well, 2 out of 3 were approved and happened because of George. Maybe all 3 of them, because we have the what ifs. So just like the what ifs of Leia being trained by Yoda. Okay, my battery is like 31%. Gotta go as well. Take care, everyone. Much love to the panel. Thank you so much, Mara, for coming in and enjoying. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this, but joining in the chat and the conversation as well, and going over the hero's journey. I think that's something that needs to be discussed more with Luke Skywalker now more than ever. Because there was a grand design and behind this all when George created Star Wars. And I think that needs to be celebrated. That's just my thought. But yeah, I think it needs to be celebrated. I think it needs to be talked about more as well, because there's a lot we can learn about it. A lot. I also forgot to mention he allowed Ben Skywalker's existence. Exactly. And I was so excited when before the buyout and we heard about Sword of Jedi. And I'm thinking, we're going to get more about Jaina. We're going to get more about Ben Skywalker, hopefully, because, there's in each part of the lore, there's always a top 3. So like PT was Anakin, Obi-Wan and Padme, OT, Luke, Leia and Han. And then later on, we start seeing the emergence of their next generation. And at the end, we have Jaina, Ben, and I would say Alana, but I also put Jagged in that for the sense that, he's married. He's very significant, and he married Jaina. And then because of them, we get the Fell Empire. So I would have loved to see that progression, that transition into the legacy. So. All right. Good journey to everyone. Great stream. Thank you. Yes, we're about ready to close down here as well. Take care. See ya. Great discussion. Thank you again, Miss Martin Muses, for coming in. Always a pleasure as well. Critches, it's my first time really catching you your coffee streams. I will have to watch more often. Thank you. I'd love for you to come back, share my coffee stream, let other people know, especially if they love George Lucas era of Star Wars. The last few ones I've only covered strictly George Lucas era of Star Wars. I never really focused on any current Star Wars news. I just want to celebrate his era of Star Wars. I think that's where the heart of it is at, and the love for me is at. But later on in the future, I might have a special guest who likes the Disney trilogy come on, and we're going to talk about that. So I'm planning that, so stay tuned. I can't wait.
Someone likes the Disney trilogy?
Yes, and it's capable, and I respect what you like. I may not agree with you, and that's okay. I fully love George Lucas's era. Some people like a little bit of each, and then there's some that likes Disney Star Wars as well. And so I still would like to give a voice to people. Just share, okay, tell me what you like about it. Share what you love, or share the characters you like and stuff like that. And just give an equal representation. It's not going to be like all the time, but I just wanted to kind of share that, so. George also allowed the existence of the legacy era with Cade Skywalker. If he really wanted Luke to be the Jake Skywalker, like Disney says, why did that happen? He didn't want Luke to be that way. He didn't even want Luke to die, really, because every time an author decided to off Luke for the significance of putting drama in the story, he shot that down. And one thing, when he gave permission to kill off Chewie, he also gave permission to kill off Leia, but they went with Chewie instead. Isn't that interesting? I wonder how that would have been if they decided to kill off Leia. So they had to pick the lesser of the two evils, I guess, because pretty much.
Yeah, there's an interview with R.A. Salvatore about that. Well, several, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
And I've seen him talk about it on Facebook too.
Exactly. All right, Critches, I am an EU person, so this is my bag. Thank you for coming in, and I appreciate it. Yeah, again, my love is towards George Lucas era of Star Wars movies, games, comics, novels, all of that. Again, like what you like. if you like Disney Star Wars, more power to you. That's fine. I mean, and like I said, maybe in the near future I will have a special guest, and and I will announce that if it's going to happen or not. And we'll discuss what they like about Disney Star Wars, what they like about George Lucas era of Star Wars as well, and how they got into it, and all that. And so again, that will be in the near future. That I think that would be fun. Just give a voice to the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to Star Wars, at least.
I'm sure a lot of people who like Disney Star Wars trilogy are already on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there's people that like Rogue One and like the Mandalorian. I mean, I'm kind of partial to the Mandalorian. I'm curious to see what happens next, and so maybe that's curiosity as well. I do see a lot of parallels with the Mandalorian to Jango Fett, and his story arc. So that's why I'm curious to see what they do with it and how much more they will take off of the EU to build this character.
Well, it's written by Filoni, so.
Yeah. Let me see. We said it'd be crazy if they killed Leia instead. Yes, I think people would significantly disagree with that if that happened. Okay, I wanted Mark Hamill as Grandmaster overpowered Luke. So the thing is with that is that by the time we see Luke Skywalker as Grandmaster, he's gone through a lot of trials and tribulation and training for himself and growth for himself, that we are finally seeing him as full on Jedi Grandmaster. You guys may disagree with me. I never seen him as overpowered, even as Grandmaster. I seen his arc progressing to get where he is at with a lot of trials and tribulations. So that's how I see it. Guilty as charged. That was what I wanted for a sequel. Also, Teacher of the Jedi. So yes, I agree. I would have rather seen Luke Skywalker already had created his Jedi Order, new Jedi Order, with well-established Jedi Knights training and what have you, and then them working together, seeing a different opposite ends, like the old Jedi Order versus the new Jedi Order. So we've seen the old Jedi Order and the PT. Now we should have seen the new Jedi Order and how different they are and how uniquely similar they are as well. We should have seen those contrasts, but we didn't. That was a missed opportunity. So what do you think about that, Stig, about Luke Skywalker, like the overpower thing once he becomes Grandmaster?
It doesn't have to be overpowered. I just wanted him to be Luke Skywalker, who is a Jedi.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. Good morning, Dollified. We're getting ready to close out right here. So thank you for coming in, and you can catch us on replay. Matthew, I know people hate Dark Empire, but had they made that as a film to air to the Empire, I would have been geeking out. When they made Dark Empire, that was before the PT, and I know Stig has spoken of this before as well. And so at that time it made sense, but still when you look at it now compared to what we got, the 2.0 Dark Empire with Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it makes no sense with the Chosen One prophecy.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
When you get the Dark Empire in the original EU, what kind of sets it off to make a little bit more sense than what Disney brought back is the fact that the twin Leia out of the holocron learns about a prophecy based upon her helping her twin overcome the dark side. So that in a sense doesn't really take away the Chosen One arc. It's just the sense that she's helping her twin overcome. And it's their thing and stuff. But again, it was written before the PT, so it is what it is, basically. Make it about Luke and his father-son story. Yes, I agree. All right, it's past 12 noon my time, so I'm gonna close out here. And thank you guys for all coming. I appreciate you hanging out this long with me and talking about, midichlorians, Luke a little bit, and his hero's journey, along with Han and Leia and the OT, and the EU in general. This was great. And again, thank you, Stig, for coming on and being my guest. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise about what you know about the lore. I always appreciate that very much. Luke crushing an AT-AT with his fist would have been awesome, or crashing a Death Star. Leia as a Jedi was. This was according to Tom Vich. I always say his name wrong. He considered her a Jedi. Yeah, we see her progress as a Jedi, and finally, finally at the end of Darkness trilogy, she becomes a Jedi. So she takes longer to progress. All right, so we're going to close out here. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate it again. Thank you.